me, Jason Anderson, with you. Sterling Holmes, Michael Darcy, heading up until 2 o'clock the next 4 hours. A lot of different things we're going to get into today. We'll talk a lot of college football in the 11 o'clock hour. We'll talk with Braden Gall, 440 Sports, ESPN Radio, Athlon Sports. Get his thoughts, some national stuff, and definitely we'll talk some local with Mizzou getting ready for South Carolina. KU coming off the bye, getting ready for West Virginia, which makes for a better game that West Virginia came back down 10 with, 7 minutes to play in the fourth quarter in the backyard brawl. 2 scoring drives late to tie it up, winning in overtime. A marquee win for Rich Rod Part D at West Virginia, now heading to the booth off the bye for KU. They should take care of business. They should then take care of business next week against Cincinnati, in theory. I think they should. They should then go to UCF and take care of business. Again, seeing how KU has played and seeing what they looked like at Mizzou. And we might be talking about over the next 3 weeks a 5-1 KU team getting ready to head to Texas Tech, which has a massive game this weekend, 11 o'clock. Great early window yet again in college football. Great early window. Shout out Fox for doing that for everybody and themselves, obviously, for making their marquee games at 11 o'clock in the morning. We saw Ohio State and Texas, and people complained about it. Ohio State, Texas, wow, why is it 11 o'clock? You know what got the most eyeballs that day? Ohio State, Texas at 11 o'clock in the morning because people were waking up and ready for college football.
Yeah.
I mean, it always used to be, and I think this is, not even think, I know it's on purpose. I'll ask Braden this in the 11 o'clock hour, like how long ago and how long has then this been in the mix to where there's a specific strategy to enough with waiting around all day for the 3 biggest games to kick off at 7 o'clock on different networks. ESPN, CBS, SEC always for a long time, but
sure.
ESPN, NBC with Notre Dame, Fox with their big Pac-12 game at night, and it would be like, all right, we got here, and all these games are played under the lights, and it's awesome atmosphere, and it's great pageantry, and the visuals are amazing. But I got 3 TVs now that my attention is spread to these different games, and now it has been 3 weeks in a row where we have had awesome windows, specifically 11, 2:30, 6/7, and it's not all just jumbled in one particular weekend or one particular window. I know it's on purpose, but I do want to pick Braden's Gall to see how much of a strategy this was to set out and go, Fox, you know what, Big Ten, Fox, we're going to own 11 o'clock in the morning. Other conferences don't put their big games there.
Sure.
So do we bang our head against the wall and try to beat, the SEC at 2:30, or try to beat, what was the Pac-12 or the ACC or other SEC games of the Big 12 at night? Or do we just say, bleep it, we're going to get that 11 o'clock window right after Big Noon Kickoff, which is what we're calling our show, right? We're calling it Fox Big Noon Kickoff. Well, we can't call it that and put the marquee game at 7 o'clock. So we're going to own the 11 o'clock window. And they have done that. They've owned it. It's been great. And there's another one this weekend, Texas Tech and Utah, 2 3-0 games, top 20 matchup, 11 o'clock standalone. Really not another game at 11 o'clock that you're going, oh, my God, I got to watch that game. I cannot miss that game at 11 o'clock. That's the big one. It's a massive game in the Big 12, Texas Tech and Utah. The winner of that one puts themselves in the driver's seat for the Big 12 and for, obviously, the playoff.
It's great unless you are not fan of that team, but if you are going to that game.
Oh, the coaches hate it.
Yeah, it's great for us.
Yeah,
as
ask the
selfish.
coaches. They don't want to play the 11 o'clock game, especially now that you've got the Pac-12 in the Big Ten.
Oh, my gosh, yeah, because Utah has to play. That's a 9 a.m. game.
What's a home game for them?
Okay.
So it's an 11 o'clock game. But 2 weeks ago, wasn't it Oregon Northwestern that played 11 o'clock I think it was Northwestern, so it was Oregon 9 o'clock body time for them.
Yeah.
So they've had that a couple times. But you know what? You're in the Big Ten. That's what you could stay in the Pac-12 if you wanted to.
Sure. You wake up, brush your biters, and go play some football.
Yeah, you could have. So if you're in Oregon, you're waking up and watching a game at 9 o'clock in the morning. You're watching your Oregon team play at 9 o'clock in the morning.
Even Ducks aren't up yet.
Right? I know. That's crazy. But, looking forward to our conversation with Braden because I know he's talked about this in some of the podcasts that he's had. I do wonder how he's feeling after the Tennessee loss. Diehard volunteer, went to UT.
Oh, no.
Whole family Tennessee fans. Daughter's a diehard Tennessee fan. So I wonder how the family's recovering after that giveaway.
I'll have to step out so that way I don't get.
Yeah, you don't.
I don't want to rile him up this early
mean.
in the season. I
Don't
don't want to be mean.
But that's also what sort of creates this early in the season. We watched Tennessee, Georgia go head to head and battle, and Tennessee had every chance to win that game. And in fact, we can talk about Josh Heupel and sitting on the football once you got to like the 30-yard line and going, okay, we're good. We moved all the way.
Poor Josh Heupel. Dang
we
it.
We moved all the way down to the 30. We're good now. We got all the way down to the 30, but we're fine now. We don't want to push it anymore to set up an easier field goal. But also then you acknowledge that the only reason they had a chance to do that, tied at whatever it was, is because Josh Heupel and building the Tennessee program and the coaching and everything that he has, and they won the quarterback trade.
They sure have.
With their previous quarterback, now will be with his third head coach in the last 5 games for him, with Heupel. And then Deshaun Foster at UCLA that was just fired.
Yeah, man.
And now whoever they bring in as interim, I don't even know who they named interim, but you know who the betting favorite, as a quick aside, is for the UCLA job? The betting favorite.
Eric Bieniemy.
No. 4-1 favorites. Second betting favorite is 5-1. Two
All right,
names.
Fine, I'll give Matt Nagy.
Nope. 4-1 favorite, John Gruden. 5-1 second betting favorite, Deion Sanders.
Why would John Gruden take that job?
I mean, he sees Chapel Bill. Maybe he's ready to get back. He wants to coach again. He's talked about it. He misses the coaching, but I think he's also really enjoying himself. Like, you can tell how much he's enjoying himself post-coaching career.
Fun.
Yeah. Do you want to get back into that and go coach at UCLA and the grind and the transfer portal and the never-ending recruiting season for him?
In that school.
Right. At UCLA, it's a tough one because also you're at UCLA, but you're traveling to Big Ten schools.
Yeah.
So you're in the Big Ten at You're not at UCLA in the Conference of Champions. The Wizard of Westwood, running around on the basketball court, my idol, greatest man I've ever seen, ever met in my life. Lived an amazing life. Sure did I. You're not at the Conference of Champions anymore. You're in the Big Ten. And so, which last 2 years have been the Conference of Champions in college football. So there you go. But you're traveling there. So it's not as attractive of a job as it has been in the past. And in fact, you might make the case that, I'm not going to ask him this unless we get into it randomly, you might make the case that Virginia Tech firing Brent Pry 3 games too late, should have fired him last year. They were talking about fire. It's the Mizzou and the Faith and Haith.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Should have fired Haith,
yes.
And instead he left on his own. You should have fired Brent Pry, and you know what? Maybe, just maybe they didn't fire him last offseason because their major play might be for Shane Beamer at South Carolina to take over his dad's, old stomping ground. But Shane Beamer wasn't going to leave Lenora Sellers and what South Carolina could be this year. Yeah. So maybe we'll go one more year with Brent Pry. If he can get it going, he can get it going. If not, Sellers is gone. Might be a perfect time to go get Shane Beamer from South Carolina to bring him to Virginia Tech now that he has to move on from that quarterback that sort of built that program. Who knows? But you can make a case Virginia Tech, more attractive job than UCLA because at least you're not traveling across the country to go and play those games. But yeah, Tennessee won the quarterback trade in that standpoint. Should have beat Georgia in that game. Plus 3.5 bettors for Tennessee, feeling good. Minus 3.5 bettors for Georgia, feeling bad. But yeah, a fun game, and neither season is over, which is the beauty of today's college football as opposed to college football in years past where the playoff game was played week 3, which was dumb. Sometimes the playoff game was played week 1. I mean, Dabo Swinney said, we got our final exam in week 1. Oh, yeah? How was Georgia Tech? What was Georgia Tech then if the final exam was LSU in week 1?
Free money for Sterling's what it was.
Yeah,
Georgia Tech was free money.
Georgia Tech money line, I hammered that thing too.
It was free money. I don't know what.
Yep, hammered it. Georgia Tech money line going into that
Dabo, I don't.
Georgia Tech has the better. We talk about Cade Klubnik and
yes.
Clemson. Georgia Tech had the better quarterback.
Yes.
Going into that game, it's like Georgia Tech has a better quarterback in this game. I still don't believe in Clemson and Dabo. So
he's done a great job at Clemson, but he's also very unlikable.
100%.
He just talks smack, and he tries to play it off as if it's like an oh shucks type, like talk smack. He's talked smack more than anyone.
Yeah.
Hey, he's gonna quit. He's not gonna play if they start paying players.
And he did. And as we get into the transition here to talk some NFL football, Pete Florio stopped covering football when Tyreek Hill was not suspended.
Yeah.
So all of those things happened.
Only man that has a backbone is Corey Anderson If it isn't called up by that day,
100%.
that's backbone.
Great call.
It's backbone.
He said, I will quit this show if Vinny Pasquantino isn't called up by a certain date. We got to that date. Pasquantino wasn't called up. He freaking moved to Utah.
Yeah.
He was out. He moved to Utah. Maybe he can go to that Texas Tech Utah game this weekend. He can go hang out there and watch that one. 913-912-4810 is the text line to join us. We'll talk some college football today, certainly. Todd Lebo joins us in the 1 o'clock hour. Fact or fiction, but we'll talk some college football with Todd Lebo. It's interesting that even, like, if we look at KU's schedule, I had them 5-1 going into Texas Tech. So, I could be right about that. I also could be wrong about that because if they drop one of these next 3 games, they're going to be 4-2. By the way, the 2-1 at minimum for KU over these next 3 games. Anything less than that is disappointing and a giveaway, and not taking advantage of the opportunity that's there. Could be setting up for just a massive game with Texas Tech. I mean, KU going to Texas Tech if they're 5-1. What if Texas Tech wins at Utah this weekend? And KU has an opportunity to get a win over Texas Tech and have the tiebreaker there and have the same record? Like, massive game. But I had KU at 5-1 going into that Texas Tech game, and we'll see what ultimately happens, with that. I had K-State being undefeated at this point, 4-0. They are not 4-0, so 3 wins away from that.
Correct. By the way, that was a bad Chris Farley.
That is correct.
That's a good Chris Farley.
Thank you.
I think Missouri fans and myself, alumni, we
went there?
We want, to an extent, I think Kansas to do good.
Yes.
Because then it makes that win look
100%.
better.
100%.
I don't love saying that out loud.
It's just smart.
But
it's the same way to where going into the KU-Mizzou game 2 weekends ago, it's easy to say this now because you know the result that Mizzou ended up winning.
Sure.
And you ask and say, would you rather have that win or Alabama at home? And I chose Alabama.
No.
I did. We had this argument.
Yeah, and you're wrong. It was
not
that game.
No, it was Alabama. Now
KU might be better than Alabama.
Now I'm even more right because Missouri already got the win. So now I'm even more right that I would take the Alabama win over that because now I know that they already won that game, so I don't have to give that one away. But now moving forward, yes, it's like the reason I went with Alabama is because it's better for the SEC and the opponent, and I've never seen Missouri knock off Alabama. I've seen Missouri beat KU. Never seen them beat Alabama. I've seen them beat Oklahoma. I've seen them beat Arkansas. I've seen them beat A&M. I've seen them beat all these teams. I haven't seen them beat Alabama. But it becomes massive from that standpoint for the conference. And the same thing with if KU continues to win, it becomes massive for Mizzou if they lose a couple of games for their resume on being an at-large bid for a 12-team playoff. That if KU is there competing for the Big 12 and you go, well, Missouri beat KU, by a couple of scores early in the season, that's a pretty big non-conference
You're dancing
win.
with the devil right now. Both teams are rooting for the other team to be successful because that makes it look better both
right.
ways.
Absolutely. 913-912-4810. We'll talk with Les Norman coming up at noon, as I mentioned. I want to start with
He's in the studio, by the way.
Heck yeah.
He just sends me songs from Phil Collins' songs, Sue Studio.
Mm-hmm.
And so we just always say Stu Studio.
I can feel it.
That's a different song, but
coming in the air tonight.
That's different.
At noon. So I want to start with the Chiefs as I start, but as previewing the show as we got into a couple of different sidebars there previewing the show. We'll mention a little bit, and then we'll come back and discuss a little bit more about specifically the Chiefs. I want to have an honest conversation about the Chiefs where we can be on the couch, comfy chairs, in a safe space, that it's not met with screaming and yelling and well, clearly you don't know ball. Well, you're a dummy. You're a clown. See that a lot on Twitter. You put out a tweet or something of an opinion, and you're a clown.
In fairness,
yeah,
you do bring rabbits out of hats all the time.
100%.
It's a very fair assessment.
Yes, getting this job was pulling a rabbit out of my hat. I mean, you kidding me? Many hats. But I want to have an honest conversation about this Chiefs team, where they are right now and moving forward, and where they could be. That honest conversation starts with 2 people, Mike Florio and Bobby Witt. The honest conversation about the Chiefs starts with Mike Florio and Bobby Witt. I'll explain coming up next.
All right, you know this. I am not traditionally a tequila guy. What? But there is one tequila that stands above the rest.
Which one, Sterling?
That is El Bandito Yankee Tequila. They have won so many awards, platinum awards, gold medal awards, listed as one of the world's best tequilas in many magazines. And I'm telling you, the first time you will try this tequila, you'll be blown away. I'm not a guy who loves that bite of traditional tequilas, but the Añejo, the Reposado, the Blanco, all of it, you don't need to put it in a margarita. You don't need a lime. You don't need to do the whole, let's get the salt shaker out, put some on your hand, let's lick that bad boy, shoot the tequila, and then all of a sudden, eat the lime. No, that's way too much work. What?
Even if they were to sweep Seattle, they would still be 4 games behind Seattle because they are 7 games behind the Seattle Mariners.
Hear me out. What if the Royals just go 12-0?
They've got a decent chance of maybe making the playoffs if they go 12-0. Maybe.
And
maybe.
If every other team above them goes 0-12.
Then I think they'll be in the playoffs. I haven't done the math, but I think they'll be in the playoffs.
They should do that.
Why don't they just win every game? Because, by the way, winning every game would also keep the Mariners from winning these 3 at least. Anyway, and then the Rangers this weekend as well.
Yeah.
913-912-4810. Let's talk about the Kansas City Chiefs, and we can have an honest conversation, hopefully. All right, we're going to call this a safe space that we can all just sit around and not be judged by what we can talk about. I wanted to start with Mike Florio and Bobby Witt about the Chiefs and the offense. So the conversation going on with Mike Florio saying the Chiefs have interest in trading for Tyreek Hill. I mean, do you have interest in trading for Tyreek Hill? I mean, I guess, sure. What's the cost acquisition? You can always add, even though they're getting Rashee Rice back and Xavier Worthy may play this weekend. If not, you would hope that he'd be ready to go against the Ravens. I don't know if there's going to be re-injury this year. Certainly the chance and the percentage of re-injury is very high with that particular injury. Jalen Wild will end up playing the whole game there with the Miami Dolphins with the injury and the brace on his shoulder. Jalen Royals, when you get him back, I mean, in theory, you're missing your 1, 2, and 5 of your receivers. Your number 1 and number 2 with Rashee Rice and Xavier. And if you want to say Hollywood and Juju and then Jalen Royals, you're missing your first, your second, and your 5th best wide receiver in the wide receiver room.
I think it's fair, by the way. I think some people are overvaluing Jalen Royals, especially as a rookie in Andy's off. Yes.
No, I'll put him at 5. He's better than what they have after Juju.
Correct. Yes.
So you're missing those guys, and getting those guys back certainly would help. And it's like, okay, so if you're getting reinforcements there, do you need to go out and trade for Tyreek Hill? So it's part of the discussion of how does this offense become more dynamic. And you and I have talked about it, that I would rather them go out and address the running back position. Who would be out there? I don't know. Thought it was interesting. Field Yates yesterday prefaced it by saying, hey, I know in the Twitter world and the cut-up snippets, and then somebody says something and it's somebody's reporting. He said, I have not talked to anybody. I am not saying that this is even something that could happen. I'm just saying, if you're asking me, is there a running back that would be available that would make sense? He said, if the Jets continue losing, Breece Hall's a free agent at the end of this year. It's something that could make sense that if they wanted to get a draft pick, the Jets, for moving on from a running back that they haven't signed for a reason, obviously. Yeah. They've talked about Braylon Allen and moving on to Braylon Allen. And Breece Hall's in a contract year. Those are undefeated. And in week 1, he looked like the old Breece Hall. He said, that would be a name I'd keep in mind because it offers a dynamism to the Chiefs' offense. It may not cost you a whole lot because he's in a contract year, so you're not going to trade like a 2nd or 3rd rounder for him. And if it doesn't work out, you can move on from him. You don't have to sign him. Or you can have him, and then if you want to sign him to a 2 or 3 year extension, you'd have the guy there in-house that you can sign to a 2 or 3 year extension. But as he said, I have not talked to anybody with the Jets or the Chiefs. I'm simply answering your question of, is there a running back that could be available they could target? That would be worth it. That would make a difference.
I would be thrilled. You also saw last night, if you watched Monday Night Football, Rashad White, where Bucky Irving's their one. Yeah. Rashad White, more of a pass-catching guy, but still feels like he
was their number 1 before Bucky.
And he was inefficient, and then all of a sudden Bucky gets there, and then they both become efficient. Maybe it's the offensive line, too.
And maybe throwing in Baker to the mix, and adding that threat.
It's a great call.
I just,
Tom Brady couldn't get him to do it.
It's still, Bucky being drafted 6 picks ahead of Jared Wiley.
Yeah,
I don't know that they would have taken Bucky Irving or not, but God, what would this offense look like if you had somebody like Bucky Irving in the backfield there as a 4th round draft pick? But they do have Jared Wiley making tons of plays. But also he was gone. I'm joking there. They would have had to trade Jared Wiley and probably, I don't know, looking back to that draft, whatever. They'd have to trade that pick and another one to move up ahead of the Bucs. And did you think that Bucky Irving was going there? Maybe you didn't even like Bucky Irving. Maybe it was Isaac Guerrero you wanted, and he got drafted right before Jared Wiley, and you said, okay, well, we're moving on from running back now.
Well, my question is, if the Chiefs like you at running back, that's probably a bad sign.
Yeah, especially, I don't know, 7th round. 7th rounder, they got something pretty decent out of Pacheco for a 7th round running back. They got what you would expect. And maybe they got more than what you would expect maybe from a 7th round running back from Isaiah Pacheco. I don't know that they'll get that from Brashard Smith. I'd like to see him try to get that from Brashard Smith. The Bucs are getting a whole lot more out of a fourth-round running back in Bucky Irving. And by the way, my opinion on running back has evolved, at which we can also have a longer conversation about. But
I'd like to.
Mike Florio, Tyreek Hill, and that conversation, and whether you're on board or not with that, I'm not on board. I don't want them to trade for Tyreek Hill. I think they're getting reinforcements. I don't need the headache and all of that stuff, and it feels like getting the band back together. But if we have an honest conversation about what's going on with the Chiefs offense, we've talked about the dynamism that's missing from the wide receiving core and the running back core. This is where I bring in Bobby Witt. Why don't they let him play what? No, I'm joking. So multiple times this year, Sterling, we've talked about Bobby Witt. Now, we can talk about Bobby Witt and acknowledge he's the best shortstop in the game, in my opinion, okay? An MVP caliber candidate player every single year is what he's going to be while he's playing.
Sure.
But we can also talk about it in saying, a couple weeks ago, dude, you got to make that play at shortstop because the winning run scores and you lose that game because you had an error at shortstop and they scored that run. Like, that's an easy play that you make. You make amazing plays, but, you got to make that play. We've also talked about it to where Curtis Seabolt and Eric Hosmer ended up going after Curtis because Curtis was like, first pitch swinging, why at that pitch? And then Hosmer was like, well, if he hits a home run, you'd love it. Well, right, but first pitch swinging is not bad. It's first pitch swinging at a low and outside slider that he grounds out weakly to the shortstop and the game's over. Like, that was the criticism of, if you're going to be first pitch swinging, look pitch location.
And somehow Ryan Clark just started yelling at Curtis saying, you didn't play the game, it was weird.
Yeah, as a player, as somebody who played, this is where the non-player's coming through in you, Curtis. Although Curtis isn't a player, he just crushes a lot, okay? But we it seems like, are able, with Bobby Witt, to acknowledge how amazing he is. And the Royals are in a position they're in by making the playoffs last year and back-to-back years of a 500 season, if they end up going 500 the rest of the way in these final 12 games, or above 500, that'd be great. Bobby Witt's a big part of that, obviously, in what he does. But with Bobby Witt, somehow we're able to acknowledge that, you got to be better here. Ooh, right there. Ooh, stolen bases. You got to be more. You're so fast, you steal bases. Why don't you have a higher percentage, right? Is it the get off? What is it about Michael Garcia last year, who was so amazing?
Sure.
But the beginning of this year, not that. I think it's interesting that we can do that with Bobby. But if we talk about Patrick Mahomes and offer any man, it'd be nice if he was doing this better, it feels like there's an immediate reaction of, he's not the problem. He's doing everything he can. Everybody else is the problem. Why would you even bring up anything with Patrick? You're dumb. You're stupid. You don't know ball. You're a clown. This guy's blaming it all on Patrick Mahomes. Like, well, no, that's not the case. I'm not blaming it all on Bobby Witt, but why can we acknowledge that man, a major league shortstop's got to make that play? Because we talk about he's not getting any help around him. You need the reason you would think about going and getting Tyreek Hill is because you need guys to gain separation, and nobody's separating, nobody's open, and he's doing all on his own. And I'm like, man, you know what? If you could have a play to where, you're facing cover two, and you get a guy to run like a corner route, but you play off of Travis Kelce, and you get the defense to bite on Kelce early, and you get a wide open corner route, they should do that, but maybe do it early in the game. Like, do it early in the game, establish that, get it rolling, get a nice drive. Oh, they did.
Yeah.
But Mahomes airmailed Noah Gray. But somehow it's nobody's open. He's not getting help from anybody. He's the only guy doing anything. I want Patrick Mahomes over any quarterback in the NFL. I want Bobby Witt at shortstop over any shortstop in Major League Baseball. But I can acknowledge that the swing decision for Bobby Witt in that position, in that situation specifically, was not great at a low and outside slider on the first pitch. If you're looking to swing first pitch, it should be pitch location. I can acknowledge that, and he would acknowledge that the slow roller to shortstop that he boots is a play that has to be made in a tie game when you're competing for a wild card spot and the winning run scores. We can acknowledge that. But somehow, missing Noah Gray early on, which Patrick Mahomes acknowledged himself and said, I got to be better. I've got to hit that.
Sure.
I cannot miss that pass. Missing Tyquan Thornton in the second drive of the third quarter when they end up punting, when he wins down the side. I'm not talking about the wide open one where the guys, just let him go. I'm talking about down the sideline on the left side when they were going left to right on your radio dial and left to right on your TV screen. Tyquan won. He's got a step and a half on Adoree Jackson.
Yeah.
And it's a clean pocket for Mahomes. That's a pass that needs to be made, a cleanish pocket. It's not a Jalen Hurts pocket, and if it was, maybe it's different, but this is what he has to deal with, and which is why we can acknowledge that obviously is not all on Patrick Mahomes. He's doing a lot on his own, but we can't say, get Tyreek Hill so you can have these explosive plays when 2 times Tyquan was missed against the Chargers on explosive plays when he was open. Then he hit him on the third one. And 2 times in this game, he missed Tyquan Thornton for a touchdown. And then he hit him. The second time ended up being the same drive in which they scored a touchdown, so it did not cost them.
Sure.
But the other 3 times he missed Tyquan, they punted on those particular drives. Well, why go and get Tyreek Hill if you're saying, well, you bring in Tyreek Hill so you can have these explosive plays when those aren't being completed? So it's an honest conversation of, it's not easy to where just throw it to Rashee Rice and he picks up 10 yards. Or Xavier Worthy, how fast he is. And maybe Xavier Worthy faster than Tyquan. Maybe he catches the one on Sunday afternoon down the left sideline if it's Worthy that beats Adoree Jackson. I don't know. The way that it was thrown, though, it was thrown more to the sideline. And Tyquan had to running full speed, stop, turn around, jump, and then make a fingertip catch while also trying to get 2 feet in bounds. It's tough for anybody to be able to do that, especially a guy who was released by the Patriots and was on your practice squad last year, okay? Those are plays to where you have to make them better. Don't we talk about Patrick Mahomes making guys around him better?
100%.
He's got to make them better. If Tyquan Thornton comes down with that pass, it's the wide receiver making the quarterback better. Sure. Because that pass was put in a spot that was really difficult to catch.
That's Justin Jefferson making J.J. McCarthy
100%.
or Sam Darnold.
Kirk
Made
Cousins,
Sam Darnold a lot of money last year because of that.
Right. Made Kirk Cousins a lot of money down in Atlanta.
Yeah.
I mean, so we can, I think we can acknowledge that and say, like, do they need Tyreek Hill? No, because reinforcements are coming. But they also need that when those plays are available, like it's like we got to take deep shots. We got to take them we got to take advantage of them when they're there. Through 2 games, they really haven't.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, it's not for a lack of, well, nobody's open anywhere. There are open receivers. There is throwing to the wrong side into a blitz. Like the Eagles blitzed, the hot route to the right side was wide open with Hollywood Brown on a slant on a 3rd down, and he threw it down to the bottom of the screen to Travis Kelce, who was guarded, and it was an incomplete pass.
Yeah.
And it's an easy, they're blitzing right there. Hollywood's doing a quick little slant, pitch it to him, and it's wide open space. But he immediately looked to Kelce and threw the ball. Like, there are areas to where the best in the league can improve because he's had stretches of football to where he's played as great of quarterback that we've ever seen.
Sure.
And he's had playoff games where he's played as the second half against the Eagles in the Super Bowl a few years ago. One of the greatest halves of quarterback play in the postseason in Super Bowl that we've ever seen. The game against the Bills last year, they had to have almost anything he could offer in that game for them to beat the Bills, who we can look back and go, Bills probably a better team personnel-wise. But the Chiefs ended up making more plays, and they had Patrick Mahomes. I know the Bills had Josh Allen, but Josh Allen had opportunities late in the game too, and he didn't take advantage of those. Chiefs had Patrick Mahomes, and they did. But we can also say there are times when he does struggle, and I think he's in a little bit of the struggle right now. And what has happened over the last 2 years and why I don't think Tyreek Hill would make as much of a difference on this team as people would hope.
Sure.
What's happened since Tyreek Hill and really since 2022, so 23 and then especially 24, and I think what's happened early in 25 is since Tyreek Hill and some of those big plays happening, I think there's been a couple of bad habits that have formed with Patrick in just not trusting that the pocket's going to hold up. And does that change just because bleep it Tyreek down there somewhere? Because bleep it Tyquan's been down there a couple of times. And also, by the way, bleep it Hollywood was down there on the 4th down, and he completed that. And he still has these amazing throws. Like, Hollywood was open, but I don't care how open Hollywood was. Go back and watch the All-22. When Mahomes gets ready to throw the ball,
Yeah.
Where Hollywood is, he's not as wide open where it's like nobody was around him. Well, yeah, because by the time the ball got there, the defenders then had to turn and then go the other way while Hollywood was running. But when Mahomes threw the ball, Hollywood had just got past the defender, and then Mahomes, running to his right as fast as he can from Khalil Mack, had to throw it back across his body to get it away from the safety on the right side while flying through the air. It's almost impossible to be able to complete that pass. I don't care how wide open Hollywood was.
Yeah.
Those are things that are still there. The bleep it Hollywood, bleep it Tyreek down there somewhere. My concern is how long does it take for Mahomes to break the habit of, I don't trust that this pocket's going to hold up, so I'm not going to be like 2018, 19, 20, and at times 21 with Tyreek, where I can hang out in the pocket, step up, on time, accurately, footwork is good. I can drive into the football, into the throw, really get my entire body behind it, line drive, lace it right there, boom, between the 8 and the 7, between the 1 and the 0, and we're moving the chains, and it's all good. Can he break the habits of the pocket's clean, but I don't trust that it's clean, so I short arm this, and it floats over Noah Gray's head.
It is such a great point, and I know people are yelling, going, but the offensive line isn't good. The offensive line is okay.
Yeah,
they are not nearly as good as how much money they are getting paid and what they should be doing. Agreed.
Yeah.
But if you watch every other game in the NFL, did you watch the Buccaneers offensive line last night?
I did.
Did you see what Baker Mayfield did? Did Baker panic every single time back? And again, I'm not saying Patrick panics every single time, but even when the pocket's collapsing, does Baker just all of a sudden say, I got to do something, I got to do something? No. He moves around, maneuvers in there, right?
Yeah, it wasn't until the last couple of drives where Baker was like, I've got to really make plays and get out of the pocket. And that fourth down run by Baker was
insane.
Just unbelievable.
On a busted ankle, it looked like already.
Right. We've seen Baker magic, and we've seen Mahomes do that. We've seen lots more of Mahomes magic. That's sort of what Baker brings to the table, and it's what Mahomes brings to the table. But to your point, go ahead.
To me, it's just the point of, we can talk about the offensive line and how it's not good enough, but I don't want to hear that it's like the worst in the league and that no one else has to deal with this, and that all of a sudden Patrick should get, like you're mentioning, he's the best quarterback, but he's not infallible. He's not perfect.
Right.
There are situations that he can improve on because we've seen it before. And yeah, Kingsley's not great. But again, if you watch the Buccaneers game, if you watch the Atlanta game, if you watch the Minnesota game.
I mean, the Chargers last night with Justin Herbert.
You look at these offensive lines.
You've got a game wrecker in Max Crosby going up against a backup right tackle.
And they found ways. Like,
it seems like coaching with the offensive line is working with some other teams.
Also a big point as well.
I don't know.
But again, the point remains that I've noticed this. You've noticed it. I think a lot of people have. He's not, I don't want to say seeing ghosts like Sam Darnold, because I don't want to compare Mahomes to Darnold because that seems blasphemous. But it does feel at times there'll be a good pocket. The second he feels anything, he just rolls out. He doesn't try and maneuver the pocket. It's not like he's trying to move up in the pocket, move around and keep his eyes downfield. 61.5 yards rushing a game for him this year, 123 yards.
Pacing for 1,000 yards rushing. That's not good. He won't get to 1,000 yards rushing because he won't make it 17 games if he's going to be picking up 60, 70 yards per game rushing.
It's not sustainable.
Yeah.
And that's what it comes down to. And again, to your point, Hollywood at times wasn't getting great separation, I think, as much as we'd like to see from him. But I think Tyquan has. Tyquan Thornton, I feel like, is getting good separation.
He's had some throws like that, the throw down the middle where, and I also talked about this last week with I didn't talk about it a lot because I was out the first 3 days of last week. But the first pass to Tyquan Thornton that was sort of a seam route down the middle, that was over his head, that Tyquan Thornton's running and then almost has to peel back to his 1 o'clock to try to catch the ball.
Sure.
I will offer that is new players' first real game together and a miscommunication when the bullets are flying, that when Tyquan beat his man, the safety was in the middle of the field, and Tyquan was continuing to sort of fade his route towards the middle of the field, towards the safety. And as Mahomes threw it was when Tyquan got past the defender. I wonder if Mahomes thought that Tyquan, once he got past the defender, would say, well, I'm just running straight ahead. Why would I almost run closer to the safety there as opposed to just running straight ahead? Because I think if Tyquan runs straight ahead when he beats the defensive back, he runs under the football.
Sure.
Mahomes throws it. Tyquan's running to his 11 o'clock. Mahomes throws it to his 12 o'clock, which makes then Tyquan then have to turn to his 1 o'clock to try to catch the ball, and it's over his head. Well, if you take those 2 steps towards the center of the field and you make them 2 steps straight ahead, does that cover the 2 yards? where the ball landed over his head and falls right into his hands. So I will offer that is Mahomes thought Tyquan was going to keep running straight down the field as why would you fade towards the safety. Now the ones on the sideline, I would say are Mahomes getting used to the speed of Tyquan.
Sure.
I would also say it's Mahomes that does try to be a little bit more fine of the I'm throwing a dart and it's going to hit him right in stride and keep running, as opposed to I'm throwing the ball and the last thing I'm going to do is overthrow this. Because if I overthrow it, he can't make a play. If I underthrow it, at least he can make a play, or it's the great underthrow pass interference call.
Yeah.
Undefeated.
Have there been fewer of those the past year or two?
Well, they had one that wasn't called in the Chiefs game with A.J. Brown and Noel Williams.
They did have one there, yeah.
That was an underthrow pass interference that wasn't called, thankfully.
That's a great call. I feel
but
like
the biggest passing play for the Chiefs was Tyquan Thornton down the field. The biggest passing play for the Eagles was 3rd and 10, and Jalen Hurts saying cover 0. I'm going to throw it up and let Devontae Smith make a play.
Yeah.
It'll be underthrown, but at least he has a chance. I do think after the first miss to Tyquan on that last touchdown drive, if you'll notice, when Mahomes threw the ball on the touchdown, Tyquan did have to slow down a little bit, which I'm perfectly fine with. That's great. Like you watch Jamison Williams and Jared Goff against the Lions. Jamison Williams wins, but he's so fast that when Goff threw the ball, Jamison Williams then gets to the 5-yard line and slows down to catch it because Goff is saying, the last thing I'm going to do is overthrow him, so I'm going to put it to where he's so fast, he's won, he can slow down and catch the ball because he's got that much space. And I wonder this week, next week moving forward, is that the change for Mahomes? Because that last touchdown pass to Tyquan was left a little short, which I'm totally fine with, because Tyquan was able to make a play where he couldn't on the previous 2.
Have you guys noticed that the Chiefs' offense, and specifically the deep ball going downfield, they really only get it when they absolutely have to get it late in the game? They never get it in the first half.
Well, it's been there, though. It's been in the first half. Like that first couple drives. Yeah, the first couple drives against the Chargers was that, throw to Tyquan down the middle of the field, which I do think there was a miscommunication. There was 2 different times Mahomes has missed Tyquan streaking down the left sideline. The Sunday was early in the second half. It was the second drive of the third quarter against the Eagles for the Chiefs, but that's a difference-making play that can happen. I think they're there, and I have faith and trust that Mahomes is going to start hitting those. So the fact that they're there, it's not like we're watching the film, Sterling, and the all-22 and going, nobody's open. They want to take deep shots, but Tyquan can't get separation. There's nothing Mahomes can do. He's throwing it down there, but it's a 50-50 ball because there's no separation. We're not seeing that. If that was the case, then you would go, well, if you worry that Xavier Worthy is going to have this re-injury throughout the season, then maybe you do need to go and get Tyreek Hill to create that. Tyquan's got separation. They just aren't hitting it, which I expect to change, maybe starting Sunday night in New York, because I have faith in Patrick Mahomes that he's going to start hitting those passes.
Yeah, I agree. And I think, Darcy, that was a great call and something I was bringing up, just earlier in the week. I think it was Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday when you and I were here, just in regards to why is it always 3? The first 2 aren't hit. You got.
It has been back-to-back times where it's 3.
You got to hit that, and I think it's a good call. It's not that I don't think that they're not running those plays. To your point, Jason, I don't think that they're not there. I just wonder if Patrick is. He's forced in those late game situations or before half where he has to make those throws, where a 6-yard crosser is doing you no good, where you have to make the big play. And then he's making these big plays. So why don't you try doing that earlier? And I know he talked about it.
Yeah. And he'll talk about it tomorrow. I guarantee you he'll talk about it tomorrow and say, watching the film, there were so many different opportunities there. I got to hit those, and we just got to get better. And we're back in the film room and practicing, and we're working on that. And, we're going to be better as we move forward. He even said that after the game, too. Like the Noah Gray one, I missed that one. Tyquan, I missed that one. I've got to hit those passes. And we all agree. And
even taking more opportunity, though, where it just feels like late in games or when you have to have it, he makes those throws.
Yeah.
You can make those throws.
Yeah.
You're not J.J. McCarthy. Sorry, J.J. I'm not trying to rip on you, but you looked brutal against Atlanta. I mean, horrible. And now you're insult to injury because you are injured. But like
injury to insult.
Injury to insult. But Patrick, you make these throws.
Yeah, he does.
We've seen you time and time again. So do it.
I think you will.
Take the opportunities.
Yeah, I think you will. We need to take a break, but I did want to bring this up real quick. Mitchell Schwartz a couple of hours ago tweeting out after watching the film against the Eagles. and he was tweeting about just about the offensive line.
The Pacheco run.
No, he's talking about the. I don't know if he tweeted that. I'm just looking at his string of texts or tweets that are just about the offensive line. Josh, Kingsley, Creed, Jawan Taylor. But he gets to this point, and this is where I think when we talk about habits that have formed and trust that maybe needs to be re-earned. Once trust is lost, it's hard to re-earn. And clearly Patrick Mahomes has lost trust in the offensive line, which also could be lost trust that Andy Heck can coach the guys up to be able to give them a good enough pocket. But anyway, Mitchell Schwartz tweets here, the pockets need to be firmer. Too often Pat is feeling bodies, can't complete his throwing motion, and or is getting his arm hit. The difference between a clean pocket and follow through versus having to shorten the motion to avoid contact is stark, and it happens way too often. Pat will be the first to tell you he needs to hit more of those throws, but I'd love to see some cleaner platforms more consistently for him to step into it and let it rip. I think we agree with that. I think that's sort of what we're talking about. That I don't think Tyreek Hill changes the fact that we talked about it yesterday. Why do the Chiefs' pockets feel like more of a U and others feel like they're more of an arc?
Sure.
Where the Chiefs their tackles just drop straight back. And then it takes a step or two being pushed back to where that pocket shrinks and you feel like you're in a phone booth. Where other pockets, it feels like it's more of an arc and you've got more room to move around. And then as somebody is pushed around the outside or pushed through the wash, you can slide up in the pocket and you've got more space to do that. But when it's like a horseshoe and that's it, it's like, oh, nice pocket. Well, there's a yard on his right and a yard to his left, and that's it. No wonder he's, throwing the way that he is, which I'm also going to acknowledge, and we've talked about that. But he'll acknowledge that the open receivers that have been there need to be hit, and he's so good at pre-snap reads that it was surprising that there were a couple of blitzes that he threw to the non-hot receiver that was open and threw to somebody who was covered. Credit Vic Fangio, I guess, in disguising that too. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back, continue rolling. More Zone next. Your season, your shot. The NFL season is rolling. Week 2 officially over. Last night, the doubleheader. A lot of fun there. Every touchdown can bring you closer to a payout with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. From first touchdown scores to anytime TD props or the thrill of live in-game betting, every snap is loaded with opportunity. Got that Keenan Allen first touchdown scorer last night. That was nice, along with Keenan Allen as an anytime touchdown scorer. That was nice as well. Little parlay last night. Needed Amari and Hampton to do a little bit more. That would have been nice. Needed Brock Bowers maybe to do a little bit more. That would have been nice. Would have been a great night. Also, the Raiders just simply winning would have been nice too. But still, a lot of fun, and those live in-game odds are fun to play as well. And, of course, lines and odds are always subject to change. Bet just $5. If you're a new customer, this is for you. So if you haven't signed up yet, you go and sign up. You bet $5, you get $200 in bonus bets instantly. You don't have to win the bet to get the $200. You bet $5, they're going to give you $200 in bonus bets. Plus, you can score over $200 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code 810WHB. That's code 810WHB to get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you place your first $5 bet. Plus, over $200 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus, Kansas only. Eligibility restrictions apply on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issue and see sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos. NFL Sunday Ticket offer for new subscribers only and auto renews until canceled. Digital games and commercial use excluded. Restrictions apply. Additional NFL Sunday Ticket terms at youtube.com/go/NFL Sunday Ticket/terms. Limited time offer.
All right, went long in that segment, so we wrap things up here in the first hour. We'll talk with Braden Gall, a lot of college football. We changed the subject to some college football. We'll talk some national with Braden Gall. 2 segments today with Braden. We'll talk some national college football with Braden. We'll also get into the local teams as well. Mizzou, KU, K-State. Talk about these first 3/4 weeks of the season. K-State with the bye. KU getting ready for West Virginia. And good that West Virginia won that backyard brawl, because talking about a 2-1 West Virginia team with a win over Pitt as opposed to a 1-2 team.
K-State, don't let me down on a bye. Don't disappoint me on a bye.
They won't. And Mizzou taking on South Carolina, where we'll find out tomorrow when the SEC releases their player availability if Lenora Sellers is practicing or not. All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Sterling Holmes, Michael Darcy heading up until 2 o'clock. Les Norman joins us at noon. Todd Lebo, 1 o'clock. Braden Gall right now, 440 Sports, ESPN Radio, Athlon Sports, joining us here in the zone, talking some college football. Braden, what's up, brother?
How you doing, man? Good to hear from you.
I am doing just fine. We got college football in the area. K-State fans are trying to get through week by week. KU fans are pretty optimistic about having the bye and playing there at Missouri, having opportunities and getting ready for West Virginia. Missouri fans are riding high right now after the win against KU and getting ready for South Carolina. So let's talk some college football. We'll get into some of that. I want to start with a personal note, Braden. Have you gotten past the Tennessee-Georgia game? And if not, when could that happen?
No, you don't understand. I don't know about you in this business, but 21 seasons of covering college football, I am dead inside as a fan. I think that game is sort of like what we as fans in general, broadly, not like Tennessee people, should be looking forward to in our new sport. It is like probably the 8-year-old maybe took it harder than I did. She's probably still devastated 2, 3 days later, but it's one of those, and I think this is actually how Tennessee fans should look at it, which is just an absolutely brutal defeat in the moment. Your best chance to beat one of your hated rivals in a decade. But I think as the days have gone by, every day that goes by, you should be more and more excited about what you saw, in that you have won the quarterback trade over Nico.
Mm-hmm.
You have a quarterback who's completely in control of the offense, just a prototypical non-NFL college quarterback who runs a college offense very efficiently and did it against a team that I still think could be a top 5 team. I don't know if this is an elite Georgia defense. Certainly they answered a bunch of questions on offense. That's still an extremely dangerous Georgia team that if they're good enough to get to the playoff, you certainly don't want to play them. But I think you got to be more excited about Tennessee than when you came into the game if you're a fan. And I really do think, like, stepping back as even a non-SEC, non-Georgia, non-Tennessee person, like, I think you have to look at that game and go, like, this is sort of the beauty of the sport moving forward, which is it's not that the stakes have been removed. I think that was a common refrain about expansion. And certainly Tennessee's season is still alive, and Georgia's season, like, it hasn't ended the season. So from that standpoint, if you want to say, like, oh, the national championship hopes are gone, like, no. The national championships hopes are not gone for Tennessee. I don't think they're good enough to win, but that's neither here nor there. Like, the fact is that they answered so many questions in this game. They played a absolute banger of a football game for everyone around the country to enjoy, the drama and the excitement and the up and down, the back and forth, and the heavyweightness of it all. And at the end of the day, like, Tennessee has, like, you got Oklahoma, you got Alabama, you got Florida, you got Vanderbilt, you got tough games. But, like, you showed me in that game that you are capable of getting back to a 10-2-ish type of record. And if you are back to that record, you are fighting for a playoff spot. And now let's go see the rest of the season for both these two teams. And I don't know why that isn't like a great thing to celebrate about the future of the sport. Like Utah, Texas Tech, right? Like they're going to play this weekend.
Yeah.
That could be a fantastic football game. And if it is a great football game and one team wins close, it doesn't eliminate the other one, but we still get to enjoy it. And then we still get to track both teams down the stretch, because I saw a Tennessee team that is on par with Georgia in almost every way. Georgia's still a little bit better. I didn't see a team that was less athletic than Georgia, and that has been the case for 10 years with Tennessee. So I don't know if that's an indictment of Georgia. I don't think it is. I think it's more of a compliment to Tennessee, and I think if you're a Tennessee fan, you should be more excited today than this time last week.
Yeah, and the way you put it in, enjoying that game and understanding that there's still the rest of the season for Tennessee, in years past, and I've typically argued against if we have playoffs, if we have more than the BCS National Championship, more than those two, if we have more than 4, if we have more than 6 or 8 and get to 12, it will completely water down the regular season. And I understand the arguments, but I fought against that typically, because I don't think there's anything wrong with the third week of the season playing a game in which you lose in overtime against Georgia and your season still being alive to win the national championship. Like, I don't think the playoffs should be week 3 of a college football season, which is how we've sort of created and said, every single week matters in college football. And sometimes over the course of a season, we've seen in past every single week mattered. And then sometimes week 1 and 2 didn't really matter all that much because that team at the end still had a chance to play in the BCS National Championship game or was in the 4-team playoff. And what we're watching is enjoying some big games while also understanding that we may see Tennessee, Georgia again, down the line. And again, like we don't know what the future can hold, and we know Tennessee has an opportunity to go and play, and so does Georgia, obviously. And I think it creates for more interest for the teams. If you're not a fan of a specific team in college football and you just want to watch every single week a playoff game between these teams, maybe. But if you're a fan of a specific team that has opportunities to continue to build and rise and maybe go someplace you didn't think was possible for a particular program, which is most of the country, Braden, watching a team play a game, lose an amazing game, and not feel like, well, the season is over. What's the point? I'll go out and tailgate. There's something better to me about that than just every single week being the playoffs.
Yeah, so 25 million people watched Buffalo and Baltimore in Week 1 on Sunday night.
Mm-hmm.
That's more than almost all of the national championship games since 2014. I think there's like 2 or 3 that probably got more. Probably got to 20. I think the first one got 36 million, and a couple others maybe got into the 27s or 28s. But like basically 25 million would be a pretty good national championship game for college football. And the reason I say that is that that's just one of 17. And like, absolutely, those two could come back and play each other, and both teams could end up like with injuries, and all of a sudden they're 11-6, and you're not good enough. Like, my point is like you get those same for the college football fan, you still get the same quality of game from a drama standpoint. The way that is the skill level of Texas Tech and Utah going to be the same as Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson? Of course not. But like that's not the point. The point is at that level, were you given drama to enjoy? And I would argue it's still better than the NFL from that standpoint if you love college football, because it's still just one of 12 instead of one of 17. So it still does mean significantly more. And it doesn't seem to be that the NFL is losing it. People have lost interest in the NFL as they continue to add wild card teams and playoff games and all this other stuff. Like it just keeps getting bigger. And so I'm not suggesting that the college audience doesn't need to, like, the Georgia-Tennessee game, I don't think Tennessee is a national championship contender. I don't think that's a crazy thing to say. But I do think you can look at Georgia-Tennessee and probably say, all right, that's probably a little higher level athletic ability than maybe your Illinois-Indiana matchup, right? Also an equally great football game this weekend. Same thing with Utah-Texas Tech. And so, like, the stakes for Georgia might be national championship realm. The stakes for Tennessee might, they might think they need to be in that realm. And certainly those other 4, Illinois, Indiana, Utah, Texas Tech, let's say this weekend, those don't feel like national championship teams capable of winning 3 playoff games in a row. It doesn't change, like, sort of the impact of the moment on the fan bases. And so who cares what you're playing for? Like, who cares if it's just a Big 12 title or just the playoff berth or just the first round bye or a national championship? Like, the intensity doesn't change. And so I think you can enjoy so much more if you're willing to kind of like, I don't think you have to tweak your approach, but I do think the big time fan, like if you just loved, I don't mean big time like diehard, I mean big time like you only like Ohio State or you only like Alabama or you only like Clemson or Texas, you're sort of a little bit more of a casual. Like you just have to look a little bit harder to find the thing that is so incredibly important. And for those of us who have been diehards who've always loved watching, like Washington State and Boise State play football games, like it's easy to find because I can look at the schedule and like Texas Tech Utah is like an unprecedented football game in some degree because like, Kyle Whittingham and Utah have been there for a long time in these situations. But Texas Tech hasn't been in this situation for a long time. And for both of them to look as good as they have so far, Illinois, Indiana, unprecedented matchup between those two teams. Don't tell me it's not like super dramatic, super fun, and it's going to mean something in the playoff race for all 4 teams. So you just have to kind of like, and if any of those 4 teams make the playoffs, like I know Indiana made it last year, so maybe, it's old hat for the Hoosiers here, but Illinois, the Red Raiders, Utah never made a playoff spot. Not one time. Rarely do they play in BCS games in the BCS era.
Yeah.
Every now and then. But by and large, a playoff bid would be something that those three fan bases would celebrate for a very, very long time, whether they win, no matter what happens in the playoffs.
Braden Gall is our guest, and as you're talking about these games coming up this weekend, which is something I was going to ask you anyway, but I'll ask you right now, and then we'll move on to maybe to the local teams. But last week, one of the things that was great, good and bad, because certainly there are things that people have to do on the weekends, and you've got flag football and basketball and fall baseball and soccer and all of those events going on.
Jay, I had six youth sporting events from 9 a.m. until 2 p.m. on Saturday.
Well, at least it was till 2.
3 softball games and 3 soccer games. I only have 2 kids, Jason.
Did you schedule it that way so that they were done by the time that Tennessee and Georgia could kick off, or just happened to be that way?
That was just good luck.
Okay.
In time to swing by my local wing shack and pick up some wings for the house and hang out.
Nice.
Yeah, the couch and the beer was calling my name around 2 o'clock on Saturday. That's for sure.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, my son's first fall basketball game was at 4 o'clock on Sunday, roughly 30 minutes after Chiefs and Eagles kicked off. So I was not as lucky. But I bring that up because last weekend on Saturday we had big Central Time, but Nashville is too, I guess. Big 11 a.m. window, big 2:30 window, big, night window. And this weekend we get Texas Tech, Utah, 11 o'clock. We get the Auburn, Oklahoma game at 2:30. Michigan, Nebraska is a good one too on CBS at 2:30. And then, you mentioned the Illinois Indiana game that's at 6:30 on NBC. Missouri South Carolina, which before Lenora Sellers and the injury and the loss to Vandy last week was viewed as a top 25 matchup, could have been at 6 o'clock. My question is, at least I have, there have been weeks and weeks and weeks where we're like, man, why are all these games at 7 o'clock at night? Like, we're watching 3 big time games at 7 and we're splitting the audience and we're splitting our attention. Is this a concerted effort over the years of the networks trying to say, like Fox, you know what? These other conferences are not scheduling at 11 o'clock. So you know what? Ohio State, Texas, we'll put it at 11. You know what? Texas Tech, Utah, we'll put it at 11 because we're getting the eyeballs instead of putting it at night and going, what a great primetime game against 2 other great primetime games. Is this a concerted effort where we're getting more all 3 windows on Saturday of great college football games?
It's like, look, I've been doing radio with you for a long time, and I respect you. That might be one of the worst questions you've ever asked.
Awesome. Thanks, man. Cool. Great.
No, of course it is. What are you talking about?
I think it is, but I wanted to ask you if it was like, they stumbled into it.
They've been trying to, they closed the gap on game day with their big noon kickoff for years and years and years. And last year, I think game day, I want to say, kind of pushed the lead a little bit further. And then this year, of course, the opening, there's no way you're going to compete, with the, look, say what you want about Barstool. Its leader is a certain brand of personality. It's not my shtick. I don't hate on it, but I also, know that some of the accusations around him, like Lee Corso's most charming and wholesome send-off versus that trolling through, Ohio State's they got destroyed in the ratings. But the point is they've been trying to build up that time slot for a long time because they know there's an opportunity there. And that's absolutely what they're doing. And I'll tell you who hates it, Big Ten coaches. They won't say anything about it. They don't love the 7:30 or 8 o'clock kickoffs either. Everybody just wants a 3:30 kickoff. That's what everybody wants. And so I especially for the West Coast teams, like if you're Oregon, USC, don't put me in those time slots, in particular. I know Oregon had a 9 a.m. body clock kickoff this past weekend against Northwestern. It didn't hurt them. They jumped out to a huge lead. So, but that's just strange. But yes, absolutely. There's a reason that the Big Ten, and the Big Ten has always been brilliant at this from a media and financial standpoint. That's the one thing they've done better than every other conference generally since basically the early 90s when Jim Delaney signed a contract with ESPN to be the first ever, conference broadcast on cable television. He's always been ahead of the curve. The Big Ten has always been ahead of the curve on this stuff. And to sign an NFL style deal where you break up your time slots with 3 different massive media partners, that's obviously on purpose in the strategy. So it's good for us because I agree. I think one of the problems, I would say during the aughts and the teens and maybe to 2020, I don't know when it kind of started to change, probably around the time you're talking about. We need to break up the time slots. Now, I don't think that is great for players or coaches necessarily. I think having it all kind of consistent for them is probably best. If you practice at 3:30 most days or 4 o'clock most days after class, then that's probably the best time that you want to be playing the game. It's not too late at night. It's not too early in the morning, generally speaking. But from a viewership standpoint, yes, I would love like 2 elite games at 11, 2 elite games at, one at like, I'd love them when they stagger, right? Like, here's a 1:30 kickoff. Here's a 2:30 kickoff. Here's a 4:30 kickoff. Here's a 6:30 kickoff. And here's a 7:30 kickoff. Like, that way I don't miss a fourth quarter. That being said, YouTube TV, I record literally every single college football game. So unlimited DVR space. It's great.
Which is great. I've got it as well. I guess it's just anecdotal in my mind of it doesn't feel like, and it's only 3 weeks into the season, it doesn't feel like there are as many like, okay, I've got 3 7 o'clock games I got to watch here. So sorry, kids and honey, like that's kind of when I've got to be in front of the TV where, yeah, I'm in and out throughout the day, but, I'm checking up on this game and I'm getting to see the second half of this game. And then, at night I can maybe focus more on that game. Maybe it's anecdotal because there have been some good primetime games, but it's always felt like in the past, we were building up to the big game throughout the day or the bigger games throughout the day for 7 or 7:30 to kick off. And it was like, let's just get to the 11. Let's get to the 2:30. But it feels like there's not only more 11, but I guess more 2:30 games too, where it was like in years past, don't go up against the SEC on CBS. And now it's like, well, we'll go up against the SEC on CBS. We'll put a 2:30 game. We'll put an 11 o'clock game. We'll take advantage of all 3 windows and not just have our big game, regardless of what conference we're going up against. It's 7:30 at night under the lights. It doesn't matter. It just felt like that's what it was in the past. And maybe it's anecdotal through the first 3 weeks that I feel that way.
Yeah, I think they did a great job on the first weekend, but that's because they can really plan that and schedule that for a long time, knowing, first of all, they have the time slots and they can schedule that really far in advance. And they kind of, all they're going on is kind of preseason rankings at that point. So there's a lot of hype around these things. And sort of what you see, like you'll see the time slots change. Like you see Indiana, Illinois flex right into the primetime slot this weekend. So like that they did such a good job on the first weekend of spacing it out and you had two good ones on Thursday, then you had 2 good ones in the same time slot on a Friday, then you had a big one at 11, a big one at 2:30 that turned out to be one of the biggest outcomes, even though I thought it was the weakest game, the Bama Florida State game. And then the big LSU Clemson game at night, and then you had 2 time slots on Sunday, and then another one on Monday.
It's true.
Like
that
is
it's a good point.
That is as perfect a strategy to broadcast as possible for the sport itself. So they know what these folks who sign billion-dollar contracts. They know what they're doing.
And I think I'll continue to lobby this one. I think now that they've restarted the rivalry with Missouri and Kansas, I think they should play it every single year, and I think they should put it week 1 on Sunday of the opening day. And you get it's like everybody's sitting around Sunday after vegging out on all day Saturday, and you're like, oh, now we got to wait for a game tonight. One, and then we wait for one game on Monday for Chapel Bill, and that's it. No, how about a rivalry game, and you can sort of own that Sunday when we're getting ready for football. But we'll see if that ever comes to fruition. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back, continue rolling with Braden Gall. We get local. We talk about the 3 local schools, KU, K-State, Mizzou. On the other side of the break, more Zone next. All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Sterling Holmes, Michael Darcy. Continue hanging out with Braden Gall, 440 Sports Podcast Network, ESPN Radio, Athlon Sports. Let's try to make an even worse question than that one, just so if we can continue to go downhill. Trying to think of a way to ask this. I had a question that I was really going to legitimately ask you, but now I want to ask it worse. Bo Prabula, is he a good enough quarterback for Division I? I'm just joking. So I just wanted to come up with a worse question.
Next question.
All right. All right. So what I really wanted to ask you is, let's say he is as close against other big-time opponents as what we've seen through these first 3 games. If that's the case with Prabula, how good can Missouri be, and can they start to dream about being one of the 12 teams?
I think, look, this is the beauty of the current structure, is especially if you can win a couple of key games early and then kind of build. And now Missouri's building is starting this weekend.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the latest on availability for Lenora Sellers, but if you looked at that South Carolina offense, we'll get to Prabula here, but like South Carolina, I want to say, was almost 8 yards of play with Lenora Sellers in the game against Vanderbilt. Then it was like 4.5 yards of play without him. So it's not rocket science. Vanderbilt's very good, deserving of the win, but also that was a lot about Sellers not playing.
Yeah.
So you beat South Carolina at home with a banged-up quarterback. You get lucky there in terms of the matchup, but you still have to go out and win the game. I think you can go out and win the game. You beat UMass, all of a sudden the team is building into its stretch.
Yep.
Now, is Alabama
stretch.
worse than we thought? Probably. Is Auburn, Vanderbilt, and A&M better than we thought? Maybe. Is Oklahoma better than we thought? Maybe. Is Mississippi State better than we thought? Maybe. Is Arkansas better than we thought? Maybe. But Missouri's better than we thought. And so I think at the end of the day, this is the start of what I saw from Joey Aguilar in Tennessee last week. I went into that game saying, if Tennessee loses but they're close, I want to learn about the quarterback. If the quarterback is under control and seems like he can handle the situation, the stage isn't too big, the defense isn't too fast, and it looks like he sort of understands the offense. He had a couple bad plays, but by and large, he looks completely controlled. I don't think South Carolina is the same as Georgia, but they do have some elite defensive weapons. Dylan Stewart, Kilgore, safety. They got some good corners. They're going to challenge some of the pieces on offense. Look controlled, look composed, look under control. Then I want to see it against Bama, right? So it's sort of like, show us what you are, continue to build your resume. I think he's got the sort of the versatility and the physicality and the strength to kind of I think the key with Missouri is sort of going to be, with that schedule, how tough are the road trips at the end of the season. And I'm not surprised that Auburn, Vanderbilt, and Oklahoma are all better than we expected. But if you can get South Carolina and Bama at home, you are probably 2 games ahead of where everyone, myself included, had you picked in the preseason. So growing into yourself in the playoff era, and if you just skate by, this is what I'm seeing with Georgia Tech. I said this, I think you and I talked about, Georgia Tech on that Friday night against Colorado, a power conference team that goes on the road against sort of like an annoying, pesky, but talented but not great team in week 1. If you just figure out a way to win those games, you could end up looking up all of a sudden and being 9-1 with a couple games to go. And Missouri, they haven't had that kind of test yet, although the Kansas game getting down early in that first quarter, we'll see more with South Carolina and Bama. I don't know how much UMass is meaningful in this conversation, but you start out 5-0 hosting Bama. I mean, that is, all bets are off at that point. But the quarterback has to kind of continue to maintain and show everybody what he can do in those big moments, and I don't see why he wouldn't. I mean, especially, again, South Carolina is not Georgia. They're good, but they're not Georgia.
Yeah, and the one thing that I would, and looking at Eli Drinkwitz as well, and this now being year 7 for him, which is crazy to think about, that it's 7 years for him, or year 6, excuse me, going back to 2020, the first year with Eli. With Prabula playing this way, one of the questions that I had that was always an answer with Gary Pinkel was, Gary Pinkel got hired and said, we will always have a quarterback at Mizzou. And he went from he said it at the introductory press conference. I mean, they went from Brad Smith to Brad Smith's senior year, Chase Daniel was a freshman, to Chase Daniel's last year, Blaine Gabbert was a freshman, to Blaine Gabbert's last year, James Franklin was a freshman. They went quarterback. Even Matty Mock, it didn't really work out. Then he got Drew Lock. He followed up and backed up his statement of, we will always have a quarterback. One of the questions that I had for this Missouri team and Eli Drinkwitz is, okay, you found Brady Cook. on your team, a Missouri guy, a true son, growing up only wanted to play at Mizzou, that old, college, saying. But Pribula playing like this gives me more confidence that he can find the guy and put him in position to be successful, because Missouri, Kansas State, the way that they will make waves in college football and be in a 12-team playoff is because they have a difference maker at the quarterback. They can't overcome the recruiting from the other teams that have that. If they don't have the difference maker at quarterback, they're going to be pretty generic. If they've got it, they got a chance. And Brady Cook wasn't exactly a difference maker, but he was good for what they needed. Pribula might be a difference maker.
I mean, again, I'm not ready to say yes or no to that.
Right.
I think that's the beauty of the South Carolina game in the next couple of weeks, and that's the beauty of the sport. I totally agree with the analysis of Missouri's location in the hierarchy. And honestly, I think the vast majority of the Big Ten and the SEC and a big chunk of the Big 12 and the ACC, so most of the power conference teams, with the exception of maybe maybe 8 to 10 teams, like the Northwesterns and the Vanderbilts and the Dukes and the teams that are sort of I would call them I'll say lower class in the power levels, right? But upper middle class programs in college football, I've always called them the Michael Vick schools. And that is, if you end up with, and these are great schools, great programs, proud programs, great fan bases. If you end up with a Michael Vick type of player, a generational talent at quarterback for that school, that is the era people will remember. That is the time you can contend for a conference championship. And in the past, in the Big Ten, it was a Rose Bowl. In the ACC, it's an Orange Bowl. In the SEC, it's a Sugar Bowl. Then it became a BCS. Then it became a playoff spot in a 4-team. And so if you have Antoine Randall at Indiana, if you have Pat White at West Virginia, if you have Russell Wilson at Wisconsin, Michael Vick, we can go on and on and on and on.
Yeah.
When you have that person, it's very, very hard to do what Oregon has done, which is to go from middle class, upper middle class to the elite, to sort of an upper class program. I mean, once you've played in 3 national championship games, we've kind of or close to it, you've kind of established yourself. So Oregon's one of the few. Now they have Nike, they have money, they have a different kind of thing that's allowed them to do that. Most everybody else is Missouri. Most everybody, when you have Michael Bishop or Colin Klein, you can have that generational period of time. When you have Graham Harrell at Texas Tech, we can go on and on.
Chase Daniel, I mean, they were a win against Oklahoma from playing in the BCS National Championship.
Exactly. In fact, everybody in 07, Matt Grothe at South Florida, and Andre Woodson in Kentucky, and Pat White in West Virginia. We can go on and on and on. The one guy who didn't, the team that didn't have a generational quarterback that year, of course, was LSU. Who won the national title, but that's neither here nor there. Right. Matt Stafford, I believe, was the quarterback at Georgia that year. I think Georgia has an argument that they were the best team. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. 2011, I'll remember 2011, Michigan State versus Wisconsin. I took my dad to the Big Ten championship game. That was Russell Wilson versus Kirk Cousins.
Oh, wow.
That's at college, on a college football field, that is an extraordinary thing. You got to kind of recruit at sort of the best level you can. But if you can go find that player that changes things for your program, then that is what elevates you. And for the other programs, like the ones I first was talking about, it takes more than that. It takes probably a historically good coach, James Franklin at Vanderbilt, now Clark Lee, an alumni, Pat Fitzgerald at Northwestern, an alumni. You kind of need somebody special to build a whole program at that sort of lower tier. And then if you add the Diego Pavias to it, all of a sudden, it becomes something special potentially. But even then, I'm looking at Vanderbilt going okay, if you get to 8-4, that's a historic season. Are you in the playoffs? No. But if you have those elements at Missouri, the coach with a little bit of the program build, with a little bit of talent on the roster and the star quarterback, then all of a sudden, yes, you are 10-2. I mean, just a couple years ago in Missouri. So Tennessee is, I think Tennessee could be a cut above that. I think LSU, Florida, A&M. A&M's interesting because they've never really done it, but I think they could be a cut above that in terms of their class. But the Michael Vick tier of school has always been, I think, the most interesting and my favorite tier of program in college football. because those are the players you remember the most. They're not because of their NFL careers, but because of what they meant to a college community.
Well, and I think for Missouri specifically, and I know I've kept you pretty long already, but I don't want to leave out Kansas and Kansas State in this conversation, but I think they're part of it.
I don't know if we need to talk about Kansas State.
I don't know the Kansas State fans want us to talk about Kansas State right now. But KU fans do with the West Virginia game coming up, which is much bigger with their comeback. West Virginia against Pitt over the weekend makes it a little more intriguing, which I think KU can be 5-1 heading into that matchup at Texas Tech. But I've felt that in this area that, Gary Pinkel, when he was really good, they were supplementing in Texas, but they had the borders closed. I mean, they were getting St. Louis, Kansas City, all over the state. Anybody that was good was going to Mizzou. Like D-Line U, a ton of those guys are from Missouri that they ended up getting drafted in the first round. Barry Odom didn't really continue that. It was more of a, hey, we're going to recruit nationally. All right, whatever. Yeah. Eli Drinkwitz is taking care of the state of Missouri. It's taken him a little bit to get going, but the Missouri kids are traditionally now staying home. But with the transfer portal, Braden, they now have two chances because there are a handful or maybe two handfuls of Missouri kids on Missouri's roster that transferred back in, that went away and then came back because it was like, well, it wasn't what I thought it was going to be. They're starting left tackle. They got safeties. They got linebackers. They got defensive linemen. They got guys that are, across the board that went somewhere else and then transferred back in, cornerback. And it was like, well, they're from St. Louis or they're from Kansas City. So now in the transfer era, you've got all this talent in the state, in St. Louis especially, and Kansas City's producing a lot more talent now too. But Eli's got two chances of bringing those guys in to play at Mizzou.
I mean, it's kind of a weird way to look at it, but I don't disagree with you. And that is because, what's hilarious. So I was noticing something watching sort of is it Deion Henley, the middle linebacker for the Chargers, that I was watching last night, and I was like, man, why am I drawing a blank on where he played? And when you go look at their his Pro Football Reference page, it's got Nevada, Washington State, and I didn't remember which one came first.
Yeah, I looked it up last night too. I swear to God, I swear to you that I was like, where did he go?
God, what a stud! Why am I forgetting where he went?
Yes.
And what it is it's like every Monday Night Football introduction of the lineups, you could have a guy stand up there and just be like, Florida, NC State, Tennessee, Georgia.
Yep.
That'd be Harrison Baylor. And so I just that element of it is fascinating to watch. Are we going to have more players stick it out and not make that because I think there's a couple of kids on Florida State's team that did the same thing. Yeah. They freshmen or sophomores played, didn't get a lot of playing time, went somewhere else, and then we're like, oh, I want to go back to Florida State.
Yep, come back home.
And are starting now. So it's like I look, great, go for it. That's awesome. And if that's a thing that Missouri can do, then that's even better. But is that sustainable for most of the sport for a long period of time? I don't know. That's a tough one. But I get what you're saying for sure.
Last one for you, and we'll let you go. These three games, I'm going to look at it as a 3-game cluster for Kansas. West Virginia at home, Cincinnati at home, and Cincinnati, lost to Nebraska. A home game against Nebraska in Kansas City. Well done there from the Cincinnati athletic side. And then a trip to UCF. I think KU has a great chance of going 3-0 here. A great chance of going 3-0. At minimum, I think you should be 2-1 and entering that Texas Tech game at 4-2. But I predict them to be 5-1 going into Texas Tech. What chance do you give Kansas of rattling off 3 games, 2 of them at home at the booth, and then heading down to UCF to take on the Knights that are 2-0? They beat North Carolina A&T and Jacksonville State. And we'll see what they look like against Chapel Bill this weekend at home.
I mean, I think getting the bye is really – if you look at the two teams and you just look at their fuel tanks, 6 minutes to go down by 10 against the team you hate the most and you come back, that takes a lot of energy. And so West Virginia, give them all the credit in the world, love the backyard brawl, but it does take a ton of focus, energy. Those kind of games are draining on you while Kansas has the bye week. So – they ran the ball really well. West Virginia did in that game. I thought they made Eli Holstein look like one of the kind of the worst starts that I've seen from him in a while in terms of just general overall play. So West Virginia, I thought, clearly has made some strides as the season has gone along. But is that because they were playing the team that they get up the most for?
Yeah,
that's sort of the question for me. It's what are they? Can they run the ball week in and week out in the Big 12? It didn't look like that in the first couple of weeks. But Rich Rodriguez is going to figure it out. He's speaking of '07 West Virginia. We'll see what happens. I like Kansas. I'm with you. I think 3-0 is absolutely the right expectation here.
Yeah.
Cincinnati. I like Thorsby. He's a nice player, but I don't know how scared I am of them defensively. They
should point
and
out
then
they
UCF
are
on the road.
Yeah,
I don't know if they are either.
Yeah, real quick, just should point out, KU playing West Virginia. Cincinnati is off this weekend, so Cincinnati will be coming off the bye to head to KU. So that is at least something to consider. But I still think KU should take care of business against Cincinnati at home.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right. 5-1 is absolutely I trust the coaching staff. They look like they've kind of washed and flushed the first month and a half of last season. You got to be motivated after having a lead on an arch rival like that to give it up like that, even though you played pretty well in that game. I would imagine they're pretty fired up for greatness against West Virginia. If you can continue that, I agree. I think 5-1 going to Lubbock is a very real possibility. And then you come home and who knows what Kansas State and Oklahoma State are at that point. So there's a lot of wins left on the schedule potentially for Kansas.
100%. And that Texas Tech game could be really interesting as Texas Tech with their trip to Utah, and then they'll head to Houston before playing KU at home. So
let's see all that Twitter money that went into the offensive line for Texas Tech. Let's find out how that works out this weekend. If it works, great. If it doesn't, Utah's scary good potentially along the line of scrimmage.
Braden Gall. Braden, you're the man. I've kept you too long. I appreciate it as always, brother. Love these conversations. Braden, appreciate it, brother, and we'll talk next week, man.
Yep. Appreciate you guys.
All right, there's Braden Gall. We'll take a timeout, come back, continue rolling. More Zone right after this. We'll hang out with Les Norman coming up at noon. Thank you to Braden Gall. A lot that we covered there with Braden. 440 Sports Podcast Network, Athlon Sports, ESPN Radio. A lot of college football obviously going on this weekend as well. Mizzou, South Carolina. We'll find out tomorrow night when the player availability is released. So we'll see if Lenora Sellers has been practicing for South Carolina. We'll find that out Wednesday night when that happens. KU getting ready for West Virginia. Michael, I'll ask you because Braden and I agreed. I think Sterling would agree as well. I'm going to put words in his mouth right now.
Whoa!
So I'll ask you. They sit 2-1 right now, coming off the bye. West Virginia this week at home. Cincinnati next week at home. At UCF. Braden and I agreed. Reasonable expectation is that they could be 3-0 and sitting 5-1 at Texas Tech. Is that is that too high of an expectation for a team that struggled at times last year, considering they had opportunities to win there at Missouri, or should that be the expectation for this KU team this year? What we've seen through the first 3 weeks, that these teams, 2 of them at home, and then heading to UCF, which is that they can go 3-0, setting up a massive game with Texas Tech.
I think the expectation should be to go 3-0. I mean, you've got a quarterback that's in his 6th year, and you've got a team of a bunch of transfers that look good so far. They played well on the road in Missouri. I think bare minimum they have to go 2-1. I think the schedule kind of has broken in their favor. But I think Kansas fans would probably be pretty disappointed if they didn't go 3-0.
Yeah, I would say at this point, I think there's a pretty good chance. I would say that they can go 3-0. I think it would be a disappointment to be 2-1. I think it would be disaster to be anything worse than 2-1 over the next 3, getting ready for, because the opportunities are there where they weren't there last year because of the early struggles. The opportunities are there for KU to have one of the biggest games of the entire college football weekend, to be KU in Lubbock against Texas Tech, which could be an undefeated Texas Tech team and a 5-1 KU team.
Yeah, then you got to take advantage, too, because the last 3 games of the season are relatively difficult, right? The last 2 in particular, but I'll throw at Arizona in there just in case.
Yeah, we'll see what they look like.
They look decent so far.
Yeah.
I think at UCF is the only game that would be not okay to lose, but you would understand that one on the road down there in Florida. You got to take care of business against West Virginia and Cincinnati. Yeah. You have to.
And we'll see what UCF is, because they've beaten Jacksonville State and North Carolina A&T.
It's an unknown.
They've got Chapel Hill this weekend at home, so we'll see. All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Sterling Holmes, Michael Darcy. We're going to break the norm here. Les Norman, presented by TruckMovers.com and First Federal Bank of Kansas City. A lot of college football in the previous hour. Let's talk some baseball. Kansas City Royals. Les, it's a series that has been marked on the calendar for a few weeks now, only it's pretty immaterial. Unfortunately, now and it's sort of less what we've talked about when we knew they'd be heading to Cleveland and Philly, that these winnable games you weren't taking advantage of and winning because there was a possibility of a 2-5 road trip to Cleveland and Philly. They went 2-5, and they went from 2.5 out to 6 out.
Playing against Philadelphia, I think they escaped with a 2-5.
Yeah, and then they escaped Cleveland with a win and escaped Philly with a win. At one point, they had as many runs scored as the Chiefs had points. So they were sort of going back and forth. It was 10-10.
I don't know how to look at that.
It was 10-10 at one point. Like, wow, you know what? Maybe if the Chiefs did bring Bobby Witt over, as a wide receiver, something like that. I don't know.
Kansas City beat Philadelphia on Sunday.
They did. That's all that matters.
That's right.
That's all that matters.
Kansas City beat Philly on Sunday.
Yep.
I blame Rex Hudler.
Why is that?
Because during the Royals broadcast, he's like, sadly, the city of Philadelphia is going to be disappointed twice today.
Oh, no.
He said that.
He jinxed them.
He did it.
If he hadn't said that, the Chiefs would have won.
Well,
we know that.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that we could point our finger to as to what happened, right?
Right. If I was 7.
Rex, it was him. I do want to talk about some things that have happened over the last week. Now, we will see some things happening this week in Waca tonight, Reagan's tomorrow, Lugo on Thursday. Just in time.
The band is back together.
Just in time for them to be 6 games out. That's unfortunate. But Salvi gets to 300 home runs and 1,000 RBIs, and it's awesome it's on the same swing. That's so cool.
That is very cool.
So 300 and 1,000. It's been debated and talked about, and I think we are preaching to the choir in Kansas City when we discuss it from this standpoint with Salvi. But we've talked about, is he a Hall of Famer? Is he not a Hall of Famer? I went and looked it up, Les, that in the history of Major League Baseball with primary catchers, so you have to play 65% of your games at catcher is the criteria that I used. If it's higher, the same players show up. So you are a primary catcher. If you have 300 home runs and 1,000 RBIs, Salvi's the 8th player to do it. So, and of the 7 others, 6 are in the Hall of Fame. Mm. The only one that's not is Lance Parrish.
Yeah.
That is not in the Hall of Fame. He played 19 years, ended up with like 320 and like 1,070. Had 3 Gold Gloves. Salvi's got 5. Was not a World Series MVP. Salvi's a World Series MVP. He had a couple of years finishing in the top 10 in MVP voting. Salvi has 1 year finishing in the top 10 of MVP voting. So there's that. But he's the only one. And I don't know that we look back over the history of baseball and go, well, Lance Parrish isn't in the Hall. Man, I don't know how you really tell the story without Lance Parrish. Good player, right? I mean, obviously a good catcher for a long time. Won 3 Gold Gloves, yes.
19 years at that position is pretty amazing.
It's amazing.
Also won a World Series.
Yeah, won a World Series with the Tigers.
8-time All-Star. Salvi's a 9.
Salvi's a 9-time. He's a 3-time Silver Slugger. Salvi's a 6.
Lance has 6. Lance has 6. Salvi has 5.
Oh, Lance has 6 Silver Sluggers? I didn't realize that. Yeah, he does. Jeez. I was confused. The 3-time Gold Glove winner is the 3 that was popping.
They're very close.
Yeah, so they're very close. Lance Parrish has a higher career WAR than Salvi does. He's got 4 more points of WAR than Salvi. Played 5 more years, but still, I think the outside of Kansas City and the just analytics of it would look at it and go, well, he's not a Hall of Famer. Look at the WAR, look at this, look at that. Whereas I think we're preaching to the choir less, and you understand, from playing that position for as long as he has and playing as many games and doing those things that he has, I think it's just tough to tell the story of the last 10, 15, 20 years of baseball in the American League without Salvi, if we're talking about Hall of Famers, as a World Series MVP and a guy who's been a mainstay in the American League at catcher. Like, you think of catchers in the American League, Salvi's the first one you think of over the last, 15 years.
Yeah,
or at least the last 10.
The game has obviously changed from Lance Parrish to Selby, and I think that Lance Parrish was kind of a quiet guy, right? He wasn't out front. He just went. He was blue collar. He was this massive human being that could crush a baseball, but he was never outspoken. And back then, there wasn't the social media. There wasn't all those things. Where now, Salvy's always smiling. He's out in the open. He's talking to press. He's been in an All-Star game that mattered. He's been in a two World Series, and one of them really mattered. And the Roberto Clemente Award and all those things. And when you go play wiffle ball with some kids in a side yard, and it makes national and probably worldly news, it's different. Yeah. So I really believe that Salvy will be a Hall of Famer. I also believe that Lance Parrish deserves to be a Hall of Famer based on those statistics. But again, the thing against him is his name has dropped out of everybody's mind because the game and social media are different, and voting is different, and awareness is different. I think back in Lance's day too, even though it is always about money, it's always the underlying factor. Lance Parrish's generation of player was just about the game. It was just about baseball. Now it's about baseball, sure, but it's about fandom. It's about revenue. It's about the jersey. It's about the home run derbies and the celebrations, and that's what this generation of fan wants. Back then, they didn't want that, and so Salvy gives them what he wants. It just also happens to be his personality.
How much does it matter that Lance Parrish played for 7 teams, and there's a decent chance 3 years from now Salvy's hanging him up and only playing with the Royals his entire career? How much do you think that makes a difference?
That's a great point. I think that's also a big difference. People will see the 19 years and think, wow, and then they also look, well, how many years was he backing up? How many years was was he not the starter on a team? I mean,
it's a good point.
I would have loved to have traded careers with Chase Daniel. How many snaps did that guy take over his career compared to the starters that he backed up all those years?
Hall of Fame of business Chase Daniel.
He's the only former NFL quarterback that still has the same knees 20 years from now, right?
And has a bank account of current NFL quarterbacks.
Right, absolutely.
Made like, what, $50-60 million in his career
more
back
with
then?
good investments. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so I think that's a great point. I mean, there's some loyalty there of the same team. And Salvy has loved Kansas City, so yeah, I think it's a great point.
Yeah. Sterling?
Yeah, I think the hard part is I think the one team helps a ton. His numbers are very similar to Lance Parrish, which we've talked about. I mean, very, very similar.
Batting average, on base, slugging, OPS is really very similar.
I think what's hard is Brian McCann has some very similar numbers as well. It's just without the 18 home runs. He doesn't have the Gold Gloves. But I think when you look at the...
What do you mean about the 18 home runs?
He's 18 away from...
Okay, so he doesn't have the 300.
Sorry, 300. But he has 1,018 RBIs. WAR less, not a ton, but OPS is a good amount higher than Salvy. Just a 7-time All-Star, 6-time Silver Slugger. Also has a World Series.
What are the Gold Gloves?
And was just
no Gold Gloves
was
for
just a
Brian
better
McCann.
hitter.
Yeah,
he was just a better hitter.
Yeah, but no Gold Gloves. So Salvy's got 5.
Sure. Correct.
I mean,
I just wonder, and this is kind of my pet peeve, is that the nerds are sitting here going, well, Salvy shouldn't have got those Gold Gloves. And I'm sitting here going, okay, well, then you have to take away Derek Jeter's. Right? Like, either they count or they don't.
Yeah.
You can't just find 1 year and make it prove your point. If you say Gold Gloves matter, then, okay, it worked for Jeter. It has to work for Salvy.
Then give Harold Reynolds an extra one.
Right, but it's true, though. Like, that's kind of my pushback is I hear all these nerds complaining about WAR and all this stuff. Well, either it matters or it doesn't. Does it matter for some players or not for others? Because a lot of times I do think it's this big market bias that frustrates me to no end. I make jokes all the time about Derek Jeter. He's a Hall of Famer, right? My pushback is he's not the greatest shortstop of all time. Mariano Rivera, best closer probably of all time, but why is he the guy that made 100%? Because he played for the Yankees. If him and Hoffman switch places, what's the difference? Like, I get so frustrated with a lot of the bias that does come from their name being out there constantly. If Salvador Perez played for the Yankees, I don't think we're having a conversation right now. I think the pushback's always going to be Jorge Posada. I still think Salvador Perez, though, you look at some of the let me look up Posada, because how many Gold Gloves did he have? Zero, right?
But the Yankees' argument is he won 0 because Salvy's not going up against Pudge Rodriguez in the same league. Pudge Rodriguez won, what, 12? What does he have?
Yeah,
Gold gloves?
probably.
He's got 13 Gold Gloves. Pudge. So I will grant Yankees fans' argument on that. That Salvi didn't
but
go
then
up
it
against
matters or
Pudge
not
every
because
single. Well, I agree.
Jeter shouldn't have had any. Jeter is, historically speaking, if you want to use the nerd aspect, he was the worst fielder, not just shortstop. We've pulled the numbers.
Yeah.
The worst fielder, basically in Major League history, from when
You can't say that about the captain.
from when numbers
How
have
dare you?
from when numbers have been the nerds,
Yeah.
not me, the nerds created this, and so that's the point I'm trying to make. Either it matters or it doesn't. If it,
Well, I totally agree with that. I just think there is some merit to the Yankees' argument of Posada that Salvi didn't cross paths in the same league with Pudge at the height of Pudge's, Gold Glove winning years of 13. I think because there were some years where Pudge did not win the Gold Glove in the American League. Because I think if I look at Posada when he started to Posada being done over the course of those, 17 years, I think Pudge won 9 of his Gold Gloves in that stretch. So there are other years where Posada could have won a Gold Glove when Pudge did not win it. But I do think there's a decent argument to say that, Salvi didn't have every year going up against one of the best defensive catchers we've ever seen in Pudge, who was a deserving Gold Glove winner almost every year of his career.
It's not. It's never going to be uniform. It's
Yeah.
never
No.
the voting.
Sure.
It's never going to be uniform.
For sure.
All right.
But of his generation, right?
Yes.
well, if Josh Allen didn't have Patrick Mahomes, he's the
100%,
greatest
right.
quarterback of this generation. But Patrick's there, so
If Tom Brady didn't play football, I mean, does Phillip Rivers have a couple of Super Bowls?
Yeah, I
You
mean,
know?
yeah.
Does Peyton Manning have a couple more Super Bowls? Are we not arguing Mahomes and Brady? Are we arguing Peyton Manning's the greatest and nobody will ever be close to him? But Brady was there and he kept guys from winning. Those guys are still, all-time greats, just not what they could have been had Brady not been there, and Allen and Lamar, and not even really Burrow, because when Burrow's made the playoffs, he's 1-1 against Mahomes in the playoffs. So, but that's an interesting point too. Of like, well, that's your generation. It's what you're going up against, and that's what you're compared to. And Salvi's generation, he's got 5 Gold Gloves.
But you're right though. I mean, Sterling. It's always going to be about the big market. Off the top of your heads, 2 most important, and I'm not even going to put a why behind it. I'm not going to put a category. What are the 2 most important Major League Baseball teams that exist?
probably New York and the Dodgers.
That's it. It's the Yankees and the Dodgers. That's it.
I was going to go Brewers and Tigers. Brewers and Marlins.
Reds and
Are we
Marlins.
wrong
Yeah.
here? Am I wrong for
I guess
thinking
Reds
it's-
actually kind of used to.
Yeah.
But
Am I
that's-
wrong for thinking Rockies and the Nashville team that they're
Yes,
getting?
You absolutely are.
Okay, great.
But yeah,
The A's.
but those obviously
Yeah.
were the exact teams that
Yeah.
I was thinking of. They're the highest revenue drivers, the population, the big market. When you think big market, you think those teams. I mean, there are other big market teams, but those are the first 2 that come to mind.
Yeah.
And so if those are the first 2 you come to mind, then Major League Baseball has done their job of marketing the center of the MLB universe. And so there's your model. It's not going to be uniform, but if you play for the Yankees and you win World Series and they decide to elevate one player who, like we're talking about with the captain, with Jeter, was not a very good fielder statistically. And yet, how many Gold Gloves did he win?
Yeah. And so, therefore, it's like, the advanced analytics would keep Salvi out of it, but the advanced analytics didn't care about Jeter's fielding when he went in, because it was like the captain and everything he did around the Yankees.
5-time Gold Glove.
Right, but everything he did around the Yankees, which is Salvi's the face of this franchise,
Yes.
that's won a World Series, went to another World Series, played in the divisional round against the Yankees. It would have been nice if they made the playoffs this year, but they might be a playoff team next year where Salvi's still playing, at a somewhat decently high-level clip. I mean, the guy's sitting here this year with 28 home runs and 89 RBIs. He's got 12 games left. He could finish with 30 and 100.
Yeah.
I mean, in the next 12 games, he needs 11 RBIs and 2 home runs to finish with 30 and 100. And it'll be the first time in Royals history that
may
2
do that in
players on
one
the same
game.
team.
But also, the thing that we have to keep in mind is Salvador Perez is not retired. And how many years is he playing after this
Agreed.
year?
Agreed, because if he plays 4 more years, he could be at 400. Like, in theory,
Could be.
There's an opportunity for him to get to 400.
There's a chance, yeah.
There's a chance. I think it's an outside chance, but there's a chance if he, were to have 25 home runs a year for the next 4 years. He's had, since his 48 home run season, 23, 23, 27, 28.
Can we also talk about the political side of it? Not on Salvi's side. but on the reporters, the people that he talks to. When Salvador Perez goes into a city, he remembers everybody's name.
They love him.
I met
Hall of Fame voters love him.
Yes, I met this guy. I met Salvi. He should not know my name. He should not know anything about me. But one time during fantasy camp was the first day, and this was back when fantasy camp was the end of January, early November. He was down there early. He came out. Somebody had introduced us. I didn't go jump in Salvi's arms like, "Hey, I used to play. Woo, Salvi!" I just kind of just gave the nod. Just
I wish
went
you
about
did,
my
though.
No,
I wish you went and jumped in his
And
arms.
somebody would have taken a picture. That would have been fun because I would have looked like a little bobblehead doll.
You just hold him and be, "Hello, my friend."
Hello,
Thank you, my friend.
Yes. So I just kind of nodded and waved and went on about my business. And somebody later introduced us, and I said, "Hey, I'm Les. Good to meet you." And somebody said, "Oh, he used to play." Somebody else did the introduction. 4 years later, 3-4 years later, another fantasy camp, same thing. I'm down there, and now I'm getting a little more involved in the day-to-day and the planning and execution and being kind of trained and taught how to do it. And randomly, I see him as I'm walking into the weight room, and he's walking out. Bear hug.
Oh.
Les, my man. Hey, how you doing?
amazing.
I mean, it's unbelievable.
Thank you, my friend.
Yeah.
That's it. Thank you
Yeah.
very much. That's exactly what he said. That was actually a clip of when he said it to me that day. But the point of all that is that, and I haven't seen him since, and I wouldn't be surprised in all these years later that he wouldn't remember it.
Yeah.
Just because he remembers people's names. He cares about people. He makes connections with people in Kansas City. He'll probably remember almost, if not all, the names of those kids he was playing football with, just because that's the type of guy he is. And although he doesn't play that politics, that's his character.
Yeah.
People on the receiving end of that, when somebody makes you feel special, then you remember them back. So when it comes to you being one of the guys that votes him into the Hall of Fame, tell me that that's not going to be one of the considerations.
I'm not saying he's a first ballot, by the way.
I'm not saying it either.
I think there's a difference between people saying he's obviously in versus he gets in. I think he gets in.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a first ballot because I do think there'll be a lot of people who will say, well, what about Jorge Posada? What about Lance Parrish? I don't think there's a ton of Brian McCann folk out there. I think that he's just too far down, but I think there will be some Lance Parrish and Jorge Posada that might think, hey, they should have got in first, or if they're not in, then how is Salvi in? But I think eventually Salvador Perez will get in. Again, if he retired right now, I think it's close, but I do think there's a few more years left. The issue is, will it destroy his war with, again, the analytics have been unkind to Perez when it comes to pitch framing and some of those metrics. One of those situations where if Salvador Perez played 10 years ago, if he played, he obviously played 10 years ago, but if this was 10 years ago and the end of his career lined up then, I don't think we're having this conversation.
sure.
I think we all would say, oh, well, he's clearly in.
I also wonder, when you're talking about the character, how much should the Roberto Clemente Award be weighted? Because that's been around
I think
since
huge.
71 was the original. It was the Commissioner's Award.
Right.
They changed it to the Roberto Clemente Award, but a Commissioner's Award, it started in 71. So all of these players we're talking about had opportunities to win that same award. And there are a ton of Hall of Famers on the list of Clemente. I remember looking at it when he was awarded the Clemente and see all the players that did it. There's a ton of Hall of Famers there, but I do wonder how much that's weighted as in like the character of the player, while also being the captain, while also being one of the best in the league, while also being a primary catcher that wants to catch every single game, while also being a guy with 300 and 1,000 and maybe 350 and 1,200, and also a Clemente Award winner.
So Barry Bonds, I think we know why he's not in the Hall of Fame and probably won't be.
Wait, why?
Yeah. So, but could possibly a secondary reason be his lack of character, what he's known for. I don't know him personally. I'm not judging him for his life. You see what you see in the media.
Writers didn't really like him.
But writers didn't like him. Teammates. I mean, when you're fighting your own teammate, of all people, Jeff Kent. What did Jeff Kent ever?
Go ahead, finish your point, because I got a great addition.
That is the end of the point.
No, I got a great addition to yours, because when we're talking about steroids and accusations and everything and actually being found and this and evidence, well, I mean, David Ortiz wasn't clean. Yeah. Oh, but Big Papi, everybody loved Big Papi. Where's David Ortiz? Hall of Fame? And Barry Bonds is on the outside looking in. But
Big Papi is a huge personality.
Everybody loved Big Papi,
Everybody loved him.
And so it's like, well, I like him. I can sort of ignore these things because there's some whispers, and is there really a lot? But God, I love talking to him, and look at all the numbers he put up with the Red Sox and winning the World Series there, what it means to
He's
break
good
the
on
curse.
TV.
Oh, yeah, it's a fun personality. To your point, yeah, I mean, that matters.
It is going to matter. And going back to the Clemente Award, that's high character. You
By the way,
care
David
about
Ortiz
people.
has one as well.
Yeah,
he's also won a Clemente Award.
Yeah, you care about people. You're giving of your time, your treasure, your talent, all those things to care about other people. It's what it stands for. It's one of the pillars of high character, generosity, all those things that you can say. And so, yeah, it should be into consideration. It does matter. Now, I don't know, and again, I'm not sparking this debate because I know you two will jump right in this. I'm not a LeBron fan. However,
Well, let's get into it. I
Fair.
think we should talk about
I
it.
think it's fair.
but
I just want to piss
Now-
Jason off.
But
good. You
I
know,
absolutely respect that dude can just take it to anybody anytime, can still shoot. Isn't he like 82 years old now and can still play?
78.
And see, but
He played with
and sometimes
Bill Russell.
Bill Russell.
Sometimes I agree with his opinions, and sometimes I don't. I think sometimes he takes things a little bit too far, and I blah blah blah. But that dude's given a lot of money to a lot of charities.
Yeah. Right. A lot of different charities, yeah.
How many charities, LeBron? How many charities?
Yeah. I mean,
Oh,
he
okay.
did start his own
Not
school,
7.
and he started his own school in Cleveland
Right.
as well.
But whether it was out of the generosity of his heart or whether it was selfish or anywhere in between, nobody can judge that but him. However, there are many, many people out there that have had their lives improved and bettered because he spent a lot of his fortune
Yeah.
on other people and giving. And so the point I'm coming back to is that it's going to matter when you care about other people and you give of your time, your treasure, and your talent. It changes the lives of others. You're using your platform and what you've been blessed to be given to go do it for other people.
I think it matters if you're on the cusp, right?
Yeah, right.
If you're on
Can
that,
it get you over the
can it
over
get
the
you
edge?
over?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I don't always love that being. Again, I love it for the community. I love it for Kansas City, but I don't know how much I should. It sounds sad and pessimistic and a little, but you kind of want it to be stat driven first and foremost. Like that has to be because there's a lot of great players who are very, very nice. There are a lot of bleeps, but I'm pretty sure that shouldn't keep you out of at least for me, out of the Hall of Fame for being a bleep. Like I like at some point I'm like, yeah, but can you tell a story without this guy? That's a little bit where I'm at. Like, is it Kurt Schilling that's out of it right now?
Mm-hmm.
And part of it's because the writers don't
Well,
dig him. And the steroids or the allegations and all that stuff as well.
I'll give you one. It's a different Hall of Fame, but nobody can debate Jim Tyer's Hall of Fame credential with the Kansas City Chiefs. The only reason, and I think everybody can pretty much acknowledge this,
Correct.
the only reason is because of what happened off the field with the murder-suicide, and maybe the first ever, not first ever, but maybe the first documented CTE action and in a player in that everybody in his family said he completely changed. He wasn't the same big teddy bear that he always was after playing football. And we know those guys back then were banging their heads around, and he made decisions there at the end of his life that were out of character. But it's also keeping him out of the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
No debating that Jim Tyer is not a Hall of Famer because of that. So if that's going to keep you out of the Hall of Fame, then why would how great of a person you are not be part of putting you in the Hall of Fame? It's two different Hall of Fames, I acknowledge that, but still, nobody can debate Jim Tyer's Hall of Fame credentials. It's the only reason he's not in is because of what happened off the field.
I do wonder. Let's say Salvador Perez plays 3 more years. Is that fair? That might be a little steep. Not even talking home runs.
I think he could play 3.
But let's say you get to 350 home runs,
I
or
think
49 more.
I think that's reasonable.
That seems reasonable, right? 3 more years, you'll get over 2,000 hits. You'd assume he's 131 this year. Let's just say you get about the same the next few. You'll over 2,000 hits.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Your WAR might not go any higher because, again, the analytics aren't going to love it, especially if he starts playing more first base. It might even be, a 0.0. This year it's 0.2 because, again, they don't like the metrics of Perez. Let's say your WAR even goes down to in the 34 range, instead of 35, but now you have over 2,000 hits.
Yeah, 2,000, 350, and 1,200.
What will reign supreme? Is it going to be the historical thresholds, especially for catchers, or will it be the new school of, yeah, but the analytics don't love it? I'm intrigued to see because he's in that no man's land of which way is the newer version of the Hall of Fame going to lean. It's a little bit like Yadi Molina, where Yadi Molina, we all know how great Yadi was, but the numbers don't always say that. Especially the old school numbers don't really love Yadi.
Right.
But I think we all agree Yadi Molina is a Hall of Fame catcher. Don't we agree?
I hate to say it, but he is.
I hate it.
I hate to say it.
If you know me, the
He
only
is.
team I hate more than the Yankees are the Cardinals,
Thank
just
you.
St. Louis in general.
Knew I loved you.
But he's a 10-time All-Star, 9-time Gold Glove. You know, just, I don't know. I've always been intrigued by how the Hall of Fame is going to eventually judge Yadi Molina.
Yeah, it's an interesting one.
Can we have a Hall of Fame? Sorry to interrupt there.
Go
but
ahead.
Can we have a Hall of Fame based on the people that vote people in or not in the Hall of Fame?
Yes.
Like the people that like just have no basis for why they did it or didn't do it. Can we just have like a Hall of Fame for Hall of Fame voting Hall of Famers?
Yeah. I think we can do that.
Okay.
Yes, the Hall of Fame of the writers, Hall of Fame voters.
Yeah.
And you get in the Hall of Fame if you're willing to vote somebody first ballot. You're immediately discarded from ever being in the Hall of Fame if you're the one person that didn't vote Ichiro. You can never be a Hall of Fame voter if you're the one person that kept Ichiro from being unanimous.
Fair
You're
enough.
out forever. We'll take a timeout, come back, more Zone next. Hanging out on a Tuesday edition of The Zone. Coming up in the next hour, Todd Lebo joins us.
That is a fact.
We'll talk some college football with Todd Lebo. How about that? You know, his team, the only one that got a win against Philadelphia this weekend. Oklahoma beat what, Temple? Over the weekend? So
Missouri won.
no, against Philly.
Oh, against Philly. No, the Royals won.
The series, though. I mean the series.
Shoot.
I meant the series, though.
Barbecue.
Oh, yeah, you know what? Done. That's an everyday thing. It's an everyday thing. So we'll talk with Todd Lebo coming up in the 1 o'clock hour. By the way, I was going to bring this up with Les. We'll do it next week, which is fine. The things that excite you over the final 12 games, obviously it's playing out the string. There's a feel of, like, preseason football to me, of, like, do the at-bats, like, ultimately matter for a pennant race? No. But we're watching them to see the development, just as, like, hey, I'm watching to see Kingsley against the Bears and against the Seahawks, and I'm watching Josh Simmons and how he does, and this doesn't really matter, but we're seeing the improvement and what's he look like, and can we base it off a bigger, opinion on what he's looked like in this smaller snippet, and can we project in what that person's going to be? And I think that's the final 12 games here for the Royals, why we talked about Carter and Kaggs and those guys playing, but man, you see the home run off Nola for Kaggs on the curveball. And it's like, that's what's so exciting, is because, like, it was like a Will Clark swing. It was just a smooth, easy swing that you would see, like, guys that are lefties that would put that sort of swing on it, that would just put it into right center.
Yeah.
Right? Just an easy, smooth, barreled it up, put it right into right center, maybe stretch a single into a double, but definitely like a nice singles, beautiful, smooth, left-handed swing, make the contact, left hand comes off the bat, follow through, nice. Only he put it 404 into right center. That was just so easy swing, man. He doesn't have to come out of his cleats.
It was a low and outside curve that kind of clipped that corner. Would have been a strike.
He struck out the previous at bat on that curve.
Kind of a bat, which is also another good sign as far as learning. Kaggs needs the consistency. We know AAA is going to do him no good because every time he goes down, he just absolutely hammers it, and he's not learning anything outside of defensive, just getting better defensively.
Yeah.
So I don't think there's anything for him to learn in AAA, so he just has to learn here at the majors and take his lumps and hopefully improve and become that middle-of-the-order power bat. And no one's asking him to hit 290. No one's asking him
I'm just asking him to hit 50 home runs. That's all. You don't have to hit 290, just hit 50.
But if he hits 250 with 30 home runs, 35 home runs, that is
You're adding Salvi to the lineup.
This is what this team needs.
Adding another Salvi.
You don't need a superstar. You need a above-average power bat.
Yeah.
That's what this team – you already have your superstar in Bobby Witt Jr.
Yep.
And what's been helpful is Michael Garcia has blossomed into a legitimate top-ish of the order bat, and you know what you need for next year. And so, to me, it is Kaggs and Carter Jensen.
Speaking of that, with Michael Garcia and Bobby Witt, MLB.com put out their Gold Glove predictions today. Royals got 2 Gold Glove winners last year.
Okay.
They are predicting the Royals to get 2 Gold Gloves this year.
Last year was Lugo and Bobby.
Yep.
This year, Michael and
Bobby.
Wow.
They point out that Michael Garcia, among AL third basemen, is number 1 in fielding run value and outs above average. And also, we know this, it shouldn't matter, but we know what you do offensively does somehow have some sort of a play in Gold Gloves.
A little bit.
Because if he was a crappy offensive player that played well at third base, it'd be like, oh, whatever. But the offensive production this year maybe makes you pay a little bit more attention to him as a third baseman overall. And Bobby's lapping the field in outs above average and fielding run value at shortstops.
Yeah.
All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Sterling Holmes, Michael Darcy, Todd Lebo hanging out with us. We'll get Factor Fishing coming up in the next segment. Hello, Todd.
Good morning. No, wait, good afternoon.
Good morning, good afternoon. Not sure what it is.
You tried to steal my water, Lee, but I don't like that.
I was going to pour it on your leg. I thought it would be funny.
How was that funny?
I
I would have
promise you,
laughed.
Jason would have laughed and Michael would have laughed.
We would have laughed.
But
So,
what
yes.
is it?
Got
What-
on your little seersucker pants?
You like
Yeah.
their shorts?
Yeah.
They're short
Not
pants.
pants.
They're short pants.
You like them?
No?
Get a feel. Feel the
No.
ruffles.
I can see.
Yeah.
I'm good.
No.
Can
doing
you see?
great,
I don't know.
boys.
Yeah,
I'm
good.
Glasses
great.
are off.
I'm glad that you're doing fine.
Doing
Todd.
great. We got a
Yes.
big week of getting ready for the Chiefs.
The chefs going to New York. You got Mizzou and KU playing some home games. K-State trying to going back to the drawing board,
Best week they'll have in a month.
figuring out what's going on there with them, because even the win wasn't great. Even the win was like, ooh, what's wrong?
You get those Royals to 83
you know what?
somehow.
Like I said, with Les, June 5th, 6th, and 7th, the last time that we saw some combination of 3 games in a row of Waka, Lugo, and Reagans, and now we're going to get Waka, Reagans, Lugo.
Let's
over
go.
the
So
next
8
three
and 4
nights.
is what you need.
You need
That's right,
you need
right?
83 wins.
83
Eight
wins.
and 4.
8 and
Yeah.
4.
You know the Royals are
That's
going
about as
7
hot
and
as
5.
they've been. That would
right?
be about as hot as
They
they've been.
end with the A's or the Angels and A's on the road.
Yeah.
I mean, you know,
You just need
that's
2 wins.
Doable.
You know what I need? Get one tonight.
You need one tonight, one at a time.
One at a time.
The Royals don't care about what happened yesterday or what happens tomorrow. They take every game individually.
Today,
How do you
On
eat
its own
an
merit.
elephant?
one bite at a time.
One bite at a time.
It's true. Yeah. I mean,
Which
you
is
can
also
maybe-
kind of gross, probably. That seems.
Yeah.
Depends on how you cook it.
But
The
there's
only,
also a million ways to skin a cat. So,
The
I mean,
most important thing of the weekend is the Auburn at Oklahoma game. Jackson Arnold comes home.
it's a big one.
Let's go
It's a big one.
Tigers. Let's go Auburn.
Why
It's a
would
big
you root
one.
for the Tigers?
Because
Well, Missouri played both of them.
Oklahoma can pound sand and kick rocks. I don't know.
Do you
Mad
think
at Oklahoma
Oklahoma?
for?
Do you think Oklahoma's
You
as
know why I'm
overrated
mad
as
at
you thought when the
Oklahoma.
preseason poll came out? Now that you've watched them play a few games,
They're very good
Yeah.
defensively. They really are good. And, listen, they beat Michigan. Michigan's a good team. They beat them
Mm-hmm.
fairly easily, and they've just been exactly what you'd want in the other games. They still, they got to, at some point, Brent Venables' his whole life has been about turning the ball over on defense. They've gotten none.
they have not caused a
They've
turnover
not
yet.
caused a turnover. They're -5 in turnovers, and they have not even sniffed losing. So,
I didn't
Sustainable?
realize
if you don't turn Jackson Arnold over, after he
Yes.
turned it over as many times as he could for
That's a
you
great call.
last year, we'll see. But
good
this would be
call.
a nice one for him. If they find a way to win this, you got Kent State the week after that, then it's Texas. So, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you've set yourself up. The schedule's really hard. We've talked about this a bunch with all the SEC teams. But, most of the Power 5 teams, this is how it is. You have tough schedules. But Oklahoma's got a particularly tough one. I don't think everyone's going to be ranked when they play them, but last week they were all ranked. We'll see what South Carolina's like. I mean, South Carolina got embarrassed at home.
Yeah.
Okay,
And we
and
don't
now-
know about Lenore Sellers if he's
We
playing
don't
or not.
know. So Missouri's a big favorite here, right?
Yeah,
What's this,
13 and a half.
13 and a
13 and a
half?
half.
It opened at 3.
So if South Carolina
Jumped to 13.
falls flat,
Yeah.
then they won't be ranked when
They're not-
Oklahoma play. And
yeah, but
Oklahoma
they're
may
not
not be
ranked right
ranked. I mean,
now,
they could
you know.
lose. So
Even though somebody had South Carolina at number 10, they are not actually ranked.
they're finally out now.
But somebody had him at number 10. So it's unfortunate. It's not a top
Good
25
news,
matchup.
bad news for Missouri.
Yeah.
Good news, maybe South Carolina's not as good. Bad news is Vandy may be really good.
Yeah.
Well,
and that was
Well, I mean, they averaged over 8 yards per play when Sellers was in the game, and it was close. Then he left the game, and they averaged just under 4 yards per play after that. Like, it's night and day if Sellers is on the field for South Carolina offensively.
No, I agree with that, but I think Vandy's really, really good. I think that South Carolina is really solid when Lenora Sellers was there, but my frustration lies in how college football rankings proceed is that Vanderbilt gets all the credit for beating South Carolina because they think South Carolina is good. Then now if Missouri beats South Carolina, well, it's like, well, it doesn't matter because they're not a good team because
Vandy beat them.
Yeah, that's my whole point.
Yeah.
Timing.
But it's so silly. College football rankings and voting to me is an utter disaster.
It's been a disaster forever. It's
Mm-hmm.
worse now.
How
There's
is
been
it-
some
yeah,
really
how is it
bad
getting
ones
worse?
now. It's bad now because everyone sees the votes and they talk about them. And
Well,
then
no,
some
but like,
people have had some really
I
bad
don't
ones.
expect them to
It's-
watch every single game and every minute, but at least check the damn box scores to see if Florida won or lost to USF.
That would be good.
Maybe Notre Dame don't give a top 10 ranking to a team that's yet to win a football game all year long.
Or South Carolina getting a top 10 ranking.
But the other part of it is it doesn't matter
Yeah.
because it's not part of the formula. It actually mattered
It
20
did.
years
Yeah,
ago
for
because
sure.
it was part of the formula.
Mhm.
So it doesn't matter anymore. They'll have
Yeah.
the college football playoff rankings
Yeah.
will come out. And by the way, they don't matter either the first week
Yeah.
because they can change them all the
100%.
time.
Yeah.
But it's just conversation.
Well, and like
this is what it is.
even the computers, like if we say, you want to take away the subjectivity of the humans and go more objective, but even the computers are terrible right now because Ken Palm admits this, so does Bill Connolly, by the way, but they talk about how much the first month, it's mid-January is when Ken Palm said the Ken Palm rankings are just that season. Because you have to start your rankings with something.
Mm-hmm.
So all of these rankings, and Bill Connolly talks about it too, all of these rankings start with a pre-existing opinion that is entered into the algorithm based on recruiting rankings and historical precedent, and then it eventually has to be filtered out through the season to when now the rankings or the computers are just this season only.
And that data has got to be terrible because there's just different players on all the teams.
We're like
You don't
3
know.
or 4 weeks away, I think, from getting to where, okay, now you can pay attention to the ESPN FPI or the Sagarin or,
Right.
Bill Connolly's or whatever. Like, I look at Ken Palm, but I don't look at Ken Palm sort of like ranking like they're number 5, they're number 6. I look at what they're doing that year with their offensive and defensive efficiency specifically. January, then I start to look at how they compare to other teams because at that point, the human bias of what you expected them to be has been filtered out. And we're not there yet with the computers.
Yeah.
So the computers are worse than the polls right now.
Because you got players on different teams, and so many players on different teams
Yeah.
that have moved here and there, and if you use like recruiting rankings and things like that, that's tough because now you have a transfer ranking or recruiting ranking.
right,
I
right.
was down the rabbit hole last night, just kind of looking around at some rankings, and because if you go like John Mateer, the kid at Oklahoma,
Yeah.
he was ranked number 124 of quarterbacks his year, not of players,
My God.
quarterbacks. Okay, so then
Yeah.
he goes to Washington State and he plays and he's pretty good, and
Yeah.
now he's playing for Oklahoma and he looks really good right now.
Yeah.
So you can. We've always known that it's fun to have recruiting rankings, but it's also, it's not perfect because someone could be a 5-star, can't miss, whatever, and then they get in the wrong spot, wrong whatever. Maybe they're just not as good. High school competition, who knows what it is, right? There's all kinds of different things it can be. Generally speaking, you could look and say if it's one of the top 10, 15 players at a position in the country, they're probably going to be pretty good, blah, blah, blah. And, you look around the NFL, there's all kinds of who were superstars as high school players who went to a big school and now they're stars. But we talk about it a lot of times here. Patrick Mahomes was a 3-star player.
Yeah.
Josh Allen played at a community college.
Community college.
That's crazy.
Travis Kelce was a 2-star or whatever.
Quarterback.
Yeah. I mean, there's lots of guys
Yeah.
who just doesn't go through that way. And in today's world of college football, especially now, I was clicking through whatever the class was. I think John Mateer was in the class with Cade Klubenik or whatever. The
22.
Yeah, he's the
21,
number 1
22, something like that,
quarterback
yeah.
or whatever at Clemson. He stayed at one place.
Yeah, he's
pretty
still there,
wild.
yeah.
And Oklahoma had this kid who I remember was on Brent Venables' first team. He was like a top 10 quarterback or something, and now I'm forgetting his name. Nick Evers maybe. And he is on his 3rd school now. He's at UConn. He's barely played. He went like Oklahoma played 1 snap that year in 1 play, and then went to Wisconsin, went to wherever, and so he was from Texas. So this was a big kid. Cade Klubenik was from Texas too. These were the stars
Right.
of Texas and all this stuff. And John Mateer is like 124th quarterback in the country, way down the Texas list, and he just kind of weaves his way around. And now he's playing for Oklahoma, and they're ranked top 11 or whatever. It may not last that way, but that's just like it's going to get crazier with these rankings of players now because they're mostly going to end up at other places. They may not. I think the kid at Alabama was on that class too, Ty Simpson, right?
Well,
'Cause
Bo
he stayed-
Prabula
Yeah.
from Penn
Bo
State.
Prabula was in that class.
Yeah.
And he was
29 composite.
of quarterbacks or of
Yeah,
all
29 of quarterbacks. only.
Quarterbacks, yeah.
National, he was in the 500s.
Yeah.
But quarterbacks, he was 29. He was 14th in Pennsylvania,
Right.
of all players, but the 29th quarterback.
And like I was looking at rivals, I think you scroll down and you find John Mateer at 124.
Yeah, right.
He's, just like this dude from, and it sounds like he's from some little town, Lone Elm or something. That's just a suburb of Dallas, so it's
Oh,
just
yeah.
on the north side up by Frisco.
Yeah.
But it's a smaller, growing part But they played against, like, he played high school football against Jackson Arnold.
Is there only one tree, and it's an elm tree? It's
One lone tree.
It's the lone
L.
one, yeah.
Something like that.
No, they just it's the one tree they loaned out to somebody, never got it back.
Well,
Oh, it's
Jackson
actually spelled
Arnold,
Loan. Yeah.
I guess they'd played a football game against the other in high school, but he was older. Jackson Arnold was only third year in school, whatever. And Jackson Arnold, they had 2 5-star. I mean, they had the best defensive player in the state, the best offensive player in the state. They didn't do well in that game. I don't think it was Denton Geyer versus Lone Elm or whatever, because Denton Geyer is one of these.
Denton Geyer.
You know, Denton's a bigger suburb of Dallas, but yeah. So a lot of these guys have played against each other, you know, and especially in Texas, there's so many of these kids come out of Texas, running around. I mean, Patrick Mahomes is out of Texas, Baker Mayfield's out of Texas, C.J. Stroud, he's a Texas kid, I believe. I think so. And then he went to Ohio State. All this, so then a lot of them played, you know, against each other. But then sometimes you could be in the same city, never play each other because of they have 2 full class systems apart or something. And I don't think people quite get how big these schools are. You know, a big school around here might have 400 people in their graduating class, and some of those schools, they're more like 800 or 1,000. They're like monstrous schools, but it's just wild to see these rankings go through. But it's like all of it. We do it because it's fun to talk about, right? You know, you have to. We like rankings. We like lists. We like things like that, and that's why there is an Associated Press poll or a coaches poll
To make me mad.
Yes, or a preseason Big 12 poll, which there wasn't one this year. You know,
Which makes sense.
yeah,
Of course.
because they were wrong last year. So far wrong.
So far wrong. Why not then
Double down.
Just don't do it at all.
So
You know,
Matt
just get rid of
Stafford's
it.
little Texas quarterback too. He's from fancy hoity-toity part of Dallas.
Yeah, he is a
One of those deals.
So like I was looking up Jalen Daniels too because I couldn't remember.
He was like couldn't have been ranked at all.
Yeah,
really.
he graduated 2020 in Southern California, and the 2 top overall recruits in the country were also there in Bryce Young and DJ Ualungale.
Yeah. Where is DJ now?
I don't.
Do you think no one took him?
I don't know, but
He went to 3 colleges or 4.
yeah, at least 3. But Jalen Daniels was rated as the 61st.
Chargers. DJ
Oh, is he?
Ualungale.
Get on that
Ugalungale.
practice squad.
He's a practice squad
Get some
quarterback
checks,
for
buddy.
the
Let's
Chargers.
go.
Collect it.
That is a pay cut.
Yes.
From what he was doing.
Jalen Daniels, by the way, was ranked the 61st dual threat quarterback.
Dual threat quarterback. Yeah.
61st dual threat quarterback in the country, not 61st overall quarterback.
From 5-star recruit DJ Ugalele to
Because he went to
Clemson,
Oregon
State,
Florida State,
Florida State,
and then somewhere else?
and then Chargers practice squad.
Chargers practice.
That's
squad.
what it is. Chargers practice squad, yeah. Which is, again, a pay cut.
He went 1-4 at Florida State.
Is that the year they just won the one, or because they had a rough year?
Oh yeah, I think it was
Was he the winner? Did they only win one that year? I don't know. They had a rough year that year.
Yeah.
But
That's
people,
what it
I mean,
was. 6 interceptions, 4 touchdowns.
that's something. But you know, it's just wild. I mean, sports are wild. College football's wild. Drawing where these players have been and where they go. And this is a super weird one this week with Oklahoma because just last year he was the quarterback for Oklahoma. And the last time he played on this field, they beat Alabama and he was the hero because they had played well. And they were like, you know, they rushed the field. The fans were on the field for the first time in 24 years. And then it was like, well, we kind of need to do something different. We're going to do a different kind of offense. So they went and hired a coordinator who brought a player, and then it's like, sorry, bro, you know?
Yeah.
And I mean, they really have been nice about it. I mean, they you know, I think the family had to have been a little hurt that this happened, but you know, he's moved to Auburn and he's getting paid money at Auburn. You know what I mean? Plenty of money, I guess, but it's going to be weird to see. Like Jalen Daniels is an oddball. He's going to be at one school for all this time. Brady Cook was an oddball. Avery Johnson right now is an oddball that he's been there the whole time. He's still got eligibility. We'll see how that goes. It would be shocking to me if he had ever left there. But.
Looking at because I was trying to refresh my memory on the story that the Athletic did on Jalen Daniels and his going through high school and his transfer, and you know comparing himself to DJ Ualungale and Bryce Young that were both varsity players as a freshman. and Jalen Daniels is a quarterback on the freshman team. Those guys were on varsity getting offers already, and he's like, well, then I am doing something wrong. He was third string quarterback his sophomore year on the varsity behind Jalen Henderson, who's at West Virginia playing Kansas this weekend at quarterback, and Kyle Williams, who's a wide receiver for the Patriots. Were the two guys
on the
ahead,
team, yeah.
two guys ahead of Jalen Daniels at quarterback position, and so he transferred and went somewhere else because he was scared of competition. Oh, wait, no, he went somewhere because there was an opportunity for him to play, and then he was able to then perform and develop, and he ends up at Kansas as the 61st dual-threat quarterback, and now he's a big reason why I think Kansas could be 5-1, getting ready to go down to Texas Tech in a massive game for KU if they take care of business against West Virginia this weekend, Cincinnati next weekend at home, and then a trip to UCF. Then this team could be 5-1 with their one loss being at Mizzou when they led 21-6 at one point.
And it still blows my mind that he's been there for 6 years and he's still only 22. He won't be 20,
Right, he got there
23.
Did he get on campus at like 17
he
years
played
old?
games. He will be 23 at the end of October.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
Good for
6
him.
years.
And he's been at one school.
One school.
And been at one school.
6 years with
that's
multiple
unbelievable.
coaches. It's just, well, multiple stadiums, you know? I mean, think
That
of
is
all the
crazy,
places.
yeah.
Like he's played multiple leagues,
His
multiple coaches.
He's had 3 different home stadiums.
Yeah, 3.
At
4.
KU.
At KU.
4,
Yeah.
actually.
Well, the renovation doesn't count.
No.
Oh, it's the new booth.
The new booth.
The
So-
old one.
New booth,
New
old
booth.
booth, Arrowhead, and
Sporting.
Sporting. That's
Yeah.
4.
Right, I'm going
Four
with
home
3 because
stadiums.
I'm not counting new booth and renovation.
You count new
it's
booth?
Booth, Sporting, and Arrowhead are the
I
home
count the new
fields.
booth.
And was recruited by David Beatty, right?
Yeah, Les Miles, right?
Oh, I think David Beatty recruited him.
Oh, did he?
No,
And
it was
then-
Mangino.
I think he recruited him.
Dollar signs. That's how we got
I think
him.
he had committed at least, and then
And then
Miles had
stayed with
maybe
Les
had already
Miles.
signed. I mean,
Yeah.
that was before they had all the craziness.
Yeah.
I'd have to go back and look at that. I'm pretty sure he was recruited by David Beatty.
Yeah, it was a nice find.
Yeah.
You know, got him on campus. But I,
Are you saying David Beatty should be the GM of
yes,
Jayhawk football?
that's
is that-
what he-
is that-
that's
I'd
exactly
love to
what
listen to him talk. I love
That's
David
exactly
Beatty
what he's
talk.
saying. Yeah, that's exactly what it's saying. So yeah, that's interesting. I hope Jalen Henderson gets some snaps this weekend for West Virginia, and then you can have Jalen Daniels and Jalen Henderson playing on the field at the same time. Guys who were first and third string quarterbacks in high school. There's some talent in Southern California too. You know, all over the place. There is talent everywhere. But I think there's a real opportunity for KU these next 3 weeks. Can they be 5-1?
Well, I
'Cause
thought
again-
West Virginia was terrible, and then all of a sudden they win the
And then,
backyard brawl.
and then 5 minutes in the fourth quarter, they're down by 10, and they have 2 long scoring drives, and then win in overtime. And it's like, oh, they looked like they were going to lose to a generic Pitt team, and then they win. And now a 2-1 West Virginia as opposed to 1-2. KU's coming off a bye though, so that should at least
Yeah.
help them a little bit. They should take care of business. They're 13.5-point favorites.
Yeah, they should.
12.5-point favorites. KU is.
They
this
should.
weekend.
West Virginia has had all kinds of injuries and stuff like
Yeah.
that, but they're probably riding high
Yeah.
after winning that
and
game.
everything they put into the backyard brawl.
Yeah.
Like, I'd have to go back and look historically as to what West
What
Virginia and
happens after.
Pittsburgh do the week. Like the Chiefs
Yeah.
after Raiders with Marty.
Mm-hmm.
It's like Raider week. They always beat the Raiders. But what happened the week after? Well, who cares about that? We're talking about Raider haters, you know?
Yeah, and they had to come from behind
Yes.
ahead and all that stuff.
And then
overtime
overtime.
and everything. And Rich Rod's back there.
Yeah.
Which
So he finally got a marquee part 2 Rich Rod at West Virginia. Finally got a marquee win, but it took a crazy late fourth quarter comeback to score twice.
yeah, I like
and
KU
then
this
win in
week.
overtime. I do too. Yeah. And then Cincinnati at home. We'll see. Cincinnati is generic to me.
Mm-hmm.
I think KU and Jalen Daniels can win that game at home, and then I think they should be able to go down to UCF and win. But we'll see what UCF looks like over the next couple of weeks. But if they take care of business and go 3-0, which is not easy for a team that had some close losses last year, if they take care of business, it could be one of the marquee games that weekend with KU in Lubbock against Texas Tech. Because if Texas Tech plays Utah this weekend, if they take care of business against Utah, it could be a 7-0 or a 6-0, no 5-0, because Texas Tech did not play week 0. So a 5-0 Texas Tech versus a 5-1 KU team. If Tech takes care of business against Utah and Houston as well. They play Houston before Kansas. So there's an opportunity there, and obviously an opportunity for Missouri to beat South Carolina, take care of UMass, go into the bye before that 3-game stretch of Alabama, Auburn, and then at Vandy. Because that at Vandy is a little bit different.
I'm not seeing a single loss in the Missouri schedule. I'm
agree
trying to
with you.
find one.
I agree
but
with the
it
rest of
just
the way.
it just feels like
12
Well, there's
now.
some automatic wins like OU and UMass,
Alabama.
Bama.
It's
yeah.
fiction.
Bama looks.
We haven't started that, Michael.
Remember when we thought Bama was no good? They're pretty good right now. I don't know.
Yeah,
They're marking that one down. Oh, it's a win.
I think they're going to
Find a loss in the Missouri schedule. Like, just try and find one. I
Don't know till you see it.
Yeah, not
you
at all.
can't.
Right.
They see
Will they
this-
ever leave the stadium? They just stay there.
They're
you
going to
hear
stay
it?
there for a while.
You haven't heard that Auburn game actually is now at
They're gonna move it
Missouri.
there?
They're going to move it
I
there,
hope they
yeah.
do. I really hope they do. And Vandy, you don't need to go to Nashville and play Vandy. Just head on over to Columbia. It's
Except to the Tiger fans have already booked their hotels to go to Nashville and party.
That's probably right. Yeah. Hopefully they're sitting at what would be 4, 5, 6-0.
Lebo, you want to
Be
send me
great.
down there?
I mean, I'm not going to Nashville.
No, but you want to send me down there, station. You want to
No.
you know buy my hotel
No,
Buy the whole hotel.
and buy me a ticket,
What about just a room?
no.
media pass. I'll go
I'll get you a media pass.
and a hotel
No,
No.
I'll get
and
you a
a
media
and a
pass.
sprinter van and a driver.
No.
You know what that is, Lebo? Fiction is what that is.
Fiction.
We'll do that coming up next. Yeah, look at Indiana. They win games. Okay, I don't care who they played. They're winning games.
It
all right?
matters more to me. At least win.
70-0.
At least you won.
They did win 70-0. They play Illinois this week, and we'll find out.
We'll
if any
find
of them.
out.
That's right.
Win a game, then I'll
We'll
determine.
we'll start with Darcy here. What up?
Darcy. The Chiefs will still win at least 12 games this year.
I'm going to say fact. I don't like the way you say it at least.
I'm going to say fiction. They've got 4 more games without Rashee Rice.
2 losses left. 12-5. I'll say fact.
Fact. That's 3.
Oh,
that's 3 more
nice.
losses.
Nice, guys.
Right? That's
I'll
9-3.
take
That's not. Can they go 9-3? No, wait. 12-3.
12-3, dog.
12-3.
I think
they
they
can
can
go
go
12.
9-3.
They can go 12-3.
We'll see.
They'll go on a heater at some point.
I think they can as well. I just am playing the odds.
One game at a time.
Jason.
Yeah.
The Chiefs' offense will score at least 29 points against the Giants.
Fact.
Offense.
Team total points.
Well, yeah, I can't.
That's
Okay,
fine.
the Chiefs are going to score 29 points this week.
Yeah.
Okay, even if there's 3 pick sixes, it still counts.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they would have scored
Fact.
touchdowns on those interceptions anyway. They just happened to score.
Fiction.
Yeah, fiction.
Oh, stop.
We'll score 28.
So stupid.
Darcy's
Why-
got this game figured out.
It's why, yeah, he did. That's why I
I
said.
just
Oh,
know
he's looking at
early.
the screen.
That's why I put 29. There was a reason why I put that. You guys need to know me better.
They scored on the last 5 possessions of the Chargers.
Yeah.
And then they scored 17 points against the Eagles with an interception in the end zone and a missed field goal.
Sure.
I know that only puts them at 27, but I
Yeah.
think the Eagles.
So congratulations, you
but the
played
Eagles
yourself.
but the Eagles defense is
I guess
it
we can
better or
check
worse
this
than
one.
the Giants?
Okay, we'll check this
Is
one.
the Eagles defense
They'll
better
score 28.
or worse than the Giants?
We have a way to check this one?
You know, it's like Waterboy where, what's her name? Where,
Good story. What's next?
no, but my,
That's not a guess. It's what it's going to be.
yeah, that ain't a guess. That's what it's going to
That's
be.
what it's going to be.
Where'd you come up with that guess? That ain't a guess. That's what it's going to be. And she was right. She got the score right. Spoiler alert.
She nailed it. Yeah.
We'll start with Todd. It's 3-2-1. We're all tied. Todd.
Leibs.
Mm-hmm.
Mizzou wins by at least 13.5, whether or not Sellers plays.
Fiction.
I'm going to say fact. You're high in Missouri.
I'm going to say fiction because Sellers changes a lot.
Yeah, fiction. Sellers changes a lot. And even if he doesn't play, 13.5 is a lot against a team that I think is pretty good.
Again,
I know Vandy hammered them and all that, but that,
expecting him to play, the line was 3.
yeah, that's my point.
Concussion protocol, it's 13.
And also, South Carolina went into that game. Now they'd have a week to prepare with their
Yeah.
backup if that's the case.
That's
so
true, too.
I think
And if he doesn't play, this is a null question because.
I said
It's
whether
whether.
or not
Yeah.
Sellers plays. So it's either
But
way.
whether he played, we're
If he
saying
would've
it wouldn't be
played.
if he did play.
Yeah,
if he
it's
doesn't
fiction.
play,
It's
then-
fiction. It's,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
We got our point, but I'm just
yeah, I'm just saying
flawed.
that's it. The
Correct.
total flaw.
Yeah.
There's no flaw.
No.
I created this. There's no flaw.
We'll start with
Gotta get these
we'll
flaws out
start
of
with
here.
Michael
This door.
on this one. It's 3-2. We're all tied.
Darcy. Ahmad Hardy rushes for 100-plus yards against South Carolina.
That's a fact.
Only take like 3 carries to do that.
Yeah, I know, right? I'm gonna say fact without looking up anything.
Let's do fact.
in front of me, so
It's
I'm
a
gonna go
fact.
fact.
I should have gone higher, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, 100 is a nice.
It's an
cutoff.
even number, but Ahmad
Yeah.
Hardy is
It's
just
usually what most
too
people
good.
are judged by is 100-point games and things like
The
that.
Chiefs
so.
are just, with no video evidence of that, the Chiefs should, maybe look at Ahmad Hardy and drafting him.
Sure.
That'd be helpful. Jason.
Yeah.
Okay. The Royals will finish under 500.
By the way, we all got a point on that previous one.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. The Royals finish under 500. I'm going to say, unfortunately, I think that's a fact.
Fiction.
Lebo needs this for
I
him.
went to
Yeah.
83. Let's go.
I think it's
I'll go with a
80,
fact.
80 and 82.
Fiction.
Oh, yeah.
They'll finish.
Good for you.
You're also not going to get it.
I know.
though.
That's fine.
They're going to finish right at 500.
Oh, 81,
It's going to be 81 and 81. It's not
hope-
under. It's at.
I'll take it, man. I mean, obviously, I would rather them win 87 games. That would be 12-0.
Yeah, that'd be nice. They
and,
might make
and
the
the
playoffs.
over 86.5, which is
I bet
what-
if they win all their games, they will make the playoffs.
That's a
don't
good
think so.
That'd be a real kick in the gut if
I
they
don't think
didn't
they would.
go win
That'd be a
12
kick in the
games and you don't
stones
make
and-
it.
Because if they win all of their games and another the team in front of them goes 500, that's a 6-game. They're 6 games out, so they still need.
Some of the games would be against Seattle, though.
But Seattle, they're 7 games
We
out.
probably don't need to talk about this.
Nope,
It's
don't
not
need
gonna
to. We'll start
Fact or
with
fiction? We're going to continue talking about this.
5 to 4 to 3. We're all tied. Todd leads us off here.
Lebo.
happen. Yes.
KU covers the 13.5 against West Virginia.
Yeah. Sure. Fact.
I like how the third one he got there with fact.
You
I
got
like
there eventually, huh?
This is
Fact.
fact.
West Virginia's not that good.
fact.
Fiction.
Uh-oh.
13.5 is too many points. West Virginia's flying high. They're not going to win,
No.
but 13.5 is too many points.
West
KU wins by
Virginia.
10.
Didn't
West-
they lose to Ohio this year?
Yeah.
Okay.
West Virginia.
KU
We'll be able
win
to check
by
this
10.
one, too?
We'll think about it.
Okay.
KU's coming off the bye. West Virginia put
Keep track of
everything
these
into
things, Darcy. We're going to check.
the backyard brawl. They put everything into that backyard brawl. If this was West Virginia coming off a bye and KU coming off the Mizzou and KU game, I might think of it a little bit differently. But KU's got a bye, and West Virginia's coming off the huge rivalry game that they put a lot into. Yeah, KU wins by 2 touchdowns.
Okay.
We're all tied at 5 to 4 to 3 still.
Darcy, the Rangers or Guardians will sneak into that final wild card spot.
I'm gonna say fiction.
Yeah.
They are currently, just so you guys have some
3 back.
aware-
I think now
3
it's
back
fiction.
of Houston.
I went out of
Yeah,
order.
it's fiction.
It is fiction. I just wanted to try and throw you guys
Spice
off
it up.
there.
Yeah.
Get a little spicy with it.
We're gonna. Sounds like there's not
Oops,
much
no,
drama
right
happening
there.
here down the stretch in
4.
baseball.
Yeah.
In the American
Or
6, 5.
is there?
6 to 5 to 4.
Because the next question is
All tied.
also wild card related.
Okay.
The Mets, 2-8 in their last 10 games,
Yeah, they're struggling.
will continue this collapse, and they will miss the playoffs.
that's possible.
They're
only
a game and a half.
up.
How about
over
they're a game and a half up on
Arizona.
a team that sold in Arizona. Here we go with the Detroit thing again. Arizona sold.
But the Reds are only 2 back too, and the Giants.
and the
are there.
Giants
Yeah.
had been on a little bit
Well, the
here.
Giants were selling. I mean, they sold Yaz. They sold a couple of others. I mean, they were.
The Mets are going to play the Padres next.
Oh man.
They got to play the Cubs still.
Oh.
Who's up?
This is actually me. What's the question again? Sorry.
The Mets
Are gonna miss?
continued collapse, and they missed the playoffs.
Fact.
I'll-
Let's
I'll
do
go
it.
fact.
Let's have some
It'd
fun
be
here.
hilarious for Juan Soto. To
I
miss the
wanted
playoffs.
it to so
Oh.
bad, but it's a fiction.
It's a total fabrication.
If you looked at the Arizona schedule next, it's like Dodgers. It's like the 3 best teams in the NL.
What are they playing themselves? Because you said the 3 best teams. The Diamondbacks are red hot.
The
That's a good point.
Diamondbacks are
That's a great
playing.
point. Great point.
I just want to.
They
see
play
the Mets
2 more
fail.
against San Fran. They play Philly. They play the Dodgers, and they
Yeah, it's not
play
great.
at San Diego.
That's
Maybe
rough.
it'll be the Reds then.
Okay.
And the Reds have, let's see, the Reds have 2 more games against the Cardinals. They got 4 against the Cubs, and then 3 against Pittsburgh, and 3 at Milwaukee. And it's not
Yeah,
going to matter because
it won't
Milwaukee's
matter.
already
Yeah,
won the
I
Central.
will say the Reds have a better chance than Arizona.
Although the Reds did the whole Royals thing to where it's like, oh, the schedule's about to get brutal, better take advantage, and they got swept by the A's.
Yeah. So the Mets, I want to collapse
Yeah.
because it's hilarious, but I
Yeah.
don't think it will because I think that everyone else behind them is also going to crumble. So
The Giants play the Cardinals and Rockies the last 6.
They got to win the next two.
Interesting, though.
Interesting.
Interesting.
Anything to keep the Mets out would make me laugh.
It'd be funny, right?
Yeah, we want
it'd be
that.
funny. So
We want that to happen.
Lebo,
Yes.
the tush push will be banned starting next year.
I don't know if banned's the right word. Altered in some way. Is it just banned?
It has to be
Does banned mean they've changed the way they call it? Like you
Ooh,
can only
that's a
have one
good call.
person push it or something? Any changes? What are you saying?
Well, I didn't think that far ahead.
I'll say fact. There'll be some change,
Okay.
and I'll let you score it.
That really kind of matters depending on how you clarify like the changing.
We
of
can
the
bully
rule.
him into saying it just any change.
I'll say
good luck.
fact.
I'll say fact.
Fact.
That's a fact.
So we all got a point.
Actually, I want Lebo and Darcy to get a point. Jason, I'm sorry.
Nope, 7 to 6 to 5. We're all tied. 2 more left. Darcy, we start with you.
Darcy, I am ready to buy in to the Colts and Indiana Jones being a legit playoff contender.
No, that's fiction.
I think it's a fact for you.
Was I talking to you earlier? No, I was talking to someone else about I got some fantasy issues.
Ooh.
Someone loved Danny Jones. It's
Shadia.
not you.
Chadia. You were probably talking to Chadia about it.
I'll say fiction. No, I'll say fact. Because the Texans are 0-2. Fact.
Yeah.
Fact.
Yeah.
That's a fact. I saw it on PBS.
Dude, they've yet to punt this year.
Yeah.
Their defense is good.
Yeah. They've also
Their
gone for it 5 times.
Their
on fourth
O-line
down.
is pretty good.
Yeah. Daniel Jones is just simply distributing the football
It
and handing
reminds
it off to Jonathan Taylor.
Well, he's handing the ball off. He has Michael Pittman, who's good. They have fine receivers.
Managing the game.
Tyler Warren is a good tie. I mean, they got some pieces, and they've been a fine team for a while. They don't need greatness. They need average. They need
And you don't have to
fine
be great in that
quarterback
division
play.
either.
Yes. So, yeah, I think that,
I like it.
They're a playoff contender. Legitimate.
Yeah.
Final question, Jason.
Yes. Yeah. Uh-huh. Oh, by the way, 8 to 6 to 6. We're all tied.
Angel hair pasta is the best of the long noodle pastas. So I'm not counting like farfalle or penne in here, but like of the long,
I'm taking spaghetti, fettuccine,
all those.
angel hair. What are the other long ones?
You got thin spaghetti. You got normal spaghetti. Well, there's a difference.
Overweight spaghetti.
Well, no.
Isn't angel hair just thin spaghetti?
Well, there's also no. They go in. There's angel hair, thin spaghetti.
It's like flyweight, lightweight,
Yeah.
welterweight.
Yes,
yeah, it's like
exactly. Yeah.
okay.
Then you have fettuccine.
Handsome.
I don't really care about that. I mean, sure, fact.
Featherweight.
Yeah, featherweight pasta. Fact. I don't know.
Straw weight. I don't know if they still have that. Yeah, sure.
Sure, fact.
Yeah,
whatever.
sure. Fact.
I'm gonna say fact. I saw you eating it earlier this week.
Yeah, it's fact. Yeah, dude. I'm a big angel hair pasta guy.
Darcy's being a journalist now. He's getting this
Yeah.
game.
Wait. How'd you know it wasn't thin spaghetti?
Because they're the same thing.
They're different.
What's the score?
I mean, it's 9 to 7 to 7. We're all tied. We need a tiebreaker.
Who has
here.
9?
Me.
Leibs.
Wow.
I've had a good
congratulations.
round.
Yeah.
I will say, angel hair pasta though is really damn good.
That's
Sure.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's electric.
What's our deal?
What's your deal? Well, if you see in front of you, I have a nice little variety pack of neutrals.
Okay.
There's 4 flavors in this pack of delicious neutrals. We have pineapple, we have watermelon, we have orange, and we have black cherry. All 4 are delicious. I've had all 4, and I love them all.
You're gonna rank
But we need to rank them. Rank these 4 flavors of neutral and how I view them.
How could you choose between your children? I mean, come on. Real Sophie's choice here. We'll take a timeout, come back, and we'll do that next.
There we go. Let's
All right, so let's do a tiebreaker here because it's tied 9 to 7 to 7. And Sterling, what is
Well,
the tiebreaker?
it's no longer a tiebreaker. It's a bonus.
Bonus,
Because
okay.
that
What?
way we
No,
actually
we're all
put
tied.
emphasis on the first half
Oh,
of
okay.
the game.
rating neutrals.
We are the deliciousness that is neutral.
Yeah, okay.
Vodka, seltzer, real juice, fruit variety pack, 100 calories,
Yeah.
no sugar added,
Right.
gluten-free.
It's got sparkling water and natural flavors.
I don't like the
that.
sugar added.
So-
I like this because it's not artificial
Yeah.
tasting.
There
It
we
tastes
go.
delicious.
Uh-huh.
I'm very
So
particular.
I'm going last since I'm in first of the time.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
we're starting from
Fourth to first.
fourth to first. Forest to
Forest.
Forest to forest.
Forest.
What do you have fourth?
Yes.
I've got Forest. I've got Orange. Number Forest.
Number 4.
I also have orange.
I have watermelon.
Watermelon number 4. It's delicious.
Oh, wow. I've got watermelon number 1. I'm out.
Oh,
I'm
I know
out.
what number one is.
I'm out. I have no idea what number
I
1
think
is.
I know what number one
I
is.
threw a
What's number
dart.
3?
Someone else talked about how much they loved this.
I put
think
Black
got it.
Cherry at number 3.
I got black cherry at 3.
What's that?
I got black cherry at 3.
Orange at
guess
number
it-
3. So
Oh, what was
what's
it? One off-
interesting
one
is
off there.
what's interesting is normally
off.
orange is towards like the bottom of all my, but
I-
this
that's-
orange is delicious.
Okay.
It's a flavorful orange.
So I don't feel as bad in being around you as often as I am in thinking that orange would be near the bottom of
yeah,
these
but
four.
this particular
one's different.
orange of
Okay.
neutral, it hits different.
Black
It's
cherry
very
is 2
good.
then.
Black cherry is 2. I'm a
'Cause we
big
know what number one
I'm a
is.
big black cherry guy. Big black cherry for almost anything.
Pineapple's number 1.
Pineapple's number
Because
1.
He's the favorite
Yeah,
juice
it's
in
his
the
favorite
world.
Pineapple
juice in the world.
is
He's the only
electric.
person
It's elite,
Yeah.
dude.
Whose favorite juice
Dude,
is pineapple?
pineapple, this neutral pineapple, outstanding.
I went pineapple, watermelon, black cherry, orange.
These are
so
I think
all
I
great.
won this.
Yeah.
I had
Lebo did win.
First
I
and
had
fourth. And
exactly your order.
the pineapple, watermelon, black cherry.
Yeah,
and
Lebo
orange.
won.
Yeah.
They're all 4 delicious, but
Yeah.
this is one of the best orange. This like the best orange seltzer I've ever had because
Yeah.
most orange flavors
Too
I feel
orange?
like no, most are the opposite. Most
little
are
pale.
pale orange
Weak.
or it's like artificial orange. This is like this is
Yeah.
damn good orange. Did you go to Florida and squeeze this into a can for me? They may have.
Maybe a fact,
Might
but
have.
it's inexplicable.
Hey,
may
Florida
have done
orange.
that, yeah.
That's good. So I won.
There you go.
I
Nice
love
job.
winning.
Nice
You know what you
job.
win?
An 8-pack of neutrals.
Well, you don't get the 8-pack, but you'll get a
Tell
drink.
you what,
You drink a
there's
neutral with
nothing
me.
better than winning, is there?
Take this Chiefs Bud Light.
You just want to drink instead of doing the show next time?
How about you just go ahead and do it right now?
No,
We do it on Friday.
we have busy work.
I'm just saying,
ahead.
like, Sterling, you can just
What do we have to do?
crack one open right now, man.
I
You're
got a lot
good.
of work to do. I got bonus hour to put together, all kinds of stuff.
Oh, yeah, it's an hour and a half bonus hour tonight because
Hour and a
Sporting KC at 7:30, and then Bethany's going to be at 8 o'clock. She's on the mic.
We got all kinds
Tonight.
of stuff to do today.
Wow, you're a
Yeah.
busy man.
Very.
Busy bee. That's what he is.
That's what I do. Tomorrow, Chiefs. Andy,
right.
Patrick, all that stuff.
Congrats on winning, by the way. I'm very proud of you.
Feel like
Yeah.
a winner.
There you go. We'll take a 20-hour
pineapple.
timeout and hand it over to the program with Soren Petro from CBD in Hen House. Listen in for that. Have a good day on Sports Radio 810 WHB.